Yeah.
Cannot have it.
500K, nigga. Fly K, nigga.
Cannot have it.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, YouTube live now, so I gotta turn the music off. Long story short, today I'm tired. I just got off of work, and I got probation in fucking 7.5 hours. So we gonna stream for 2 hours, and then after we do the 2 hour stream, then I'm finna go to sleep. I'm finna wake up and run it back tomorrow. I just hope that I make it to probation in time. So yeah, let's get right into the react. Oh fuck, I can't even speak. Let's get right into the reacts, so I don't oversleep probation tomorrow. And then we got like 2 40-minute reacts, and then after the reacts or whatever, after the react, we got, I don't even know, we got some games. That's what the fuck we got. But anyways, make sure y'all follow me on Twitter. I tweet every time I go live. In case y'all don't know, 5 minutes ago, 23rd. Went live a lot that day, apparently. This is The Art of Ignoring Controversy by Patrick CC.
Fake apologies, bad PR strategies, and carefully manufactured redemption arcs. What if I told you the best way for a public figure to defeat controversy is to ignore it?
Hell yeah.
When celebrities are facing backlash,
I agree.
how they respond can make or break their entire reputation. Some choose to immediately give their side of the story to hopefully quiet the outrage. Some choose to issue a sterile and professional apology that was obviously written by a PR firm. Some even choose to make apology songs. But the
forgot about this bitch.
Effective strategy is to say absolutely nothing and see how the public responds. Some disappear from the public, some literally
forgot about Ellen.
like nothing happened, and others slowly yet strategically address controversies to give themselves the most favorable outcome. Today we're going to discuss all the different ways to address controversies, starting with Mr. Beast, who put on an absolute masterclass of how to save a reputation and skate past one of the biggest controversies of his career.
He just fucking ignored it.
Mr. Beast is the undisputed king of YouTube. With close to 400 million subscribers, he has transformed from just another internet personality into the face of a massive business empire. What started as simple challenge videos has become a full-blown production company, and according to Forbes, his personal net worth now sits at an estimated $500 million. His videos regularly pull in hundreds of millions of views, built on a simple but addictive formula. Outrageous challenges, massive cash prizes, and a loyal cast of recurring friends. Mr. Beast also developed a massive philanthropic leg of his brand. He created an entire organization called Beast Philanthropy, where, unlike many other celebrities, he documents his progress so people can see the actual work he was donating to. He funded surgeries for 1,000 blind people so they could see again, planted millions of trees, and even traveled to Africa to help rescue child slaves. Each video receives hundreds of millions of views, and Mr. Beast is breaking records while still making a real impact on the world. However, his perfect public perception began to change in June of 2024. That was when his longtime collaborator and close friend, Ava Chris Tyson, was accused of child grooming. Leaked messages surfaced between Ava and her 13-year-old
That's a whole nigga. I don't know what the fuck they support, but we don't support that bullshit. That's a whole nigga.
Discord moderator Lava GS. In these disturbing exchanges, Ava referred to the underage moderator as Daddy, made numerous inappropriate jokes, and even promoted the work of NSFW artist Shadman, known for creating graphic art that includes depictions of CP. As internet detectives continued to investigate Ava's past, a growing pile of evidence packaged as a Reddit megathread revealed a long history of Ava's troubling behavior towards minors. Mr. Beast handled the crisis the way most corporations do. Like a true pro, he initially stayed silent to see if the controversy would blow over. However, after a massive eruption of public backlash, countless channels covering serious allegations related to the most famous YouTuber in history, he realized he needed to take action and responded to this controversy with a sterile corporate PR statement. Over the last few days, I've become aware of serious allegations of Ava Tyson's behavior online, and I am disgusted and opposed to such unacceptable acts. During that time, I have been focused on hiring an independent third party to conduct a thorough investigation to ensure I have all the facts. That said, I've seen enough online and taken immediate action to remove Ava from the company, my channel, and any association with Mr. Beast. I do not condone or support any of the inappropriate actions. I will allow the independent investigators the necessary time to conduct a comprehensive investigation and will take any further actions based on their findings. After this statement, he strategically avoided Twitter, which is the main platform where most controversies will gain traction and be discussed amongst millions of people. He regularly posted on Instagram and uploaded videos to YouTube, where his audience that loves him will drown out all of the negative comments. He also could control
and them niggas fucking block certain words out of the comment section
and censor negative comments on YouTube and Instagram. Not saying he did, but he could have.
He did for sure.
To promote his Feastables candy.
He for sure did. I remember watching the video and then going back and then there was comments deleting and shit like that.
Bar brand, and even launched Lunchly in September of 2024. Lunchly could not have been launched at a worse time, or maybe it was actually the best time. He received backlash for making a knockoff Lunchables that was extremely lacking in nutritional value and could be added to the long list of borderline poisonous food that fills American supermarkets. So they saying that it took
hits away from other shit.
Took some of the attention away from the allegations that his day one best friend was allegedly an offender. He smiled through the chaos, and while the internet demanded answers, all they got was silence. I've been looking to find the best deal on Thunder 20 writing so I get the last polls saying that Delaware was his brother-in-law is a registry Jake looking for Beast Corporate. The videos pulled back a self-proclaimed amidst his silence, a viral expose posted by Dogpack, a self-proclaimed former employee of Mr. Beast's company, was released.
Whatever happened to him?
The videos pulled back the curtain on alleged misconduct within the entire Mr. Beast Corporation. It was revealed that there was an actual legitimate registered offender working for Mr. Beast. They referred to him as Delaware. Mr. Beast's former employee, Jake the Viking, issued a statement on X saying that Delaware was his brother-in-law, is a registered offender, and alleging that Mr. Beast knew about the charges. Additionally, Dogpack claimed that the lotteries and challenges Mr. Beast hosts are also manipulated to encourage people to subscribe to his channels or purchase his products, hoping to win money or be featured in a video. He went even further, alleging that these lotteries were not only unethical, but also potentially illegal, raising serious concerns about compliance with gambling and sweepstakes laws. He went on to criticize the hypocrisy of Mr. Beast's philanthropic brand, highlighting that while Mr. Beast advocates for improving people's health, his products are simultaneously contributing to obesity and poor health. He pointed out that Mr. Beast runs multiple burger restaurants and sells chocolate bars to an impressionable, mostly young audience. Dogpack also noted how Mr. Beast allegedly tried to turn chocolate purchases into a lottery system to drive sales. His video got 15 million views and countless controversies were overwhelming the
I feel like for that he just did like the Willy Wonka method, pretty much, from like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Mr. Beast empire. Jimmy remained quiet for 3 straight months, ignoring all outside noise and focusing entirely on promoting his brands and uploading content. When he posted a promotional image on Twitter for his video, 7 Days Exploring an Underground City, featuring other influencers like Kai Cenat and Logan Paul, the replies quickly turned hostile. Buddy is doing everything except for responding to the allegations. Jimmy, any updates on the Chris Tyson investigation? Why are you covering up for PDF files? After months of silence, Mr. Beast returned on November 1st, 2024 and addressed the controversy by sharing the results of the third-party investigation. Jimmy claimed that the legal firm conducting the investigation, Quinn Emanuel, had advised him to say nothing during the process. According to the investigation documents, the firm said, "We also requested that the current employees refrain from public comments to ensure the investigation yielded accurate information and that witnesses were not tainted." And of course, this company that Mr. Beast hired to investigate him found him not guilty. But this was a calculated strategy to keep controversy from spiraling and to prevent wild narratives from dominating the headlines. Mr. Beast was told to say nothing until the facts were in. Mr. Beast then sat down with YouTuber Oompaville for a 2-hour podcast to address all of these controversies. Another perfect strategic move. He decided to get interviewed by someone who does not normally interview people, someone who merely reacts to drama and is often lighthearted, unserious, yet trustworthy and loved by his fan base. Also, podcasts give the impression that conversations are not censored edited, or scripted. The first question Oompaville asked was about Jimmy's silence, and this was his response.
You actually kind of laid out the timeline there. The Ava stuff came out, and I put out that tweet. We hired the investigators to go look into it. Part of that investigation is they recommended that I not talk about drama or really do anything online because it might influence witnesses or any people they might interview or ex-employees. So it's a little unfortunate because I told them, okay, I'll wait till the investigation is over. I believe that was literally like a week before the dog pack video came out. Just in transparency, I've never done one of these like big investigations before. And in my head, it was gonna last like 2 or 3 weeks.
That's on cap.
Taking a couple months.
Also, notice Jimmy's body language. Casually leaned back, feet kicked up, wearing a big cozy hoodie next to the fireplace. Everything about this gives the impression he is comfortable and not nervous. He actually sat in that same position for 2 hours, and he and Oompaville deep dove into every single
for 2 hours. So they said if you're trying to get clips, any clip you gonna make you look like you comfortable.
Controversy that was made against him. Jimmy's
Hold on, let me make it look like I'm comfortable.
very
Hold on.
unpolished, casual, and seemingly truthful.
Do you believe that you ran an illegal lottery? Was there any compliance, any steps taken to prevent
I look comfortable.
I don't think we did. I have people looking into it and like trying to pull the footage and figure it out. He disproved the two, which I mean, those were crazy. I'm trying to.
Yo, what's going on, Daryl?
I
Appreciate
don't
you,
want to just
follow.
like speculate. I have a team looking into it. I don't think we did though. But regardless, just to be truthful, if people want a refund or think for whatever reason like we did something wrong, like I'll send you a link that you can just put in the description where they can get a refund. Maybe just throw it on the screen here.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, obviously when I was a teenager, I didn't know what a background check was. I just hired a couple people there that wanted to help me make videos. One of them was the person named Delaware, and no, I did not know he was a registered sex offender. There's a rumor that's gone around that said that he sat me and my mom down and told us. Obviously, I don't remember that happening.
And while most people appreciated the detail in which he responded, others felt the calculated PR strategy made it seem disingenuous.
I feel like it was all
commenter
PR.
pointed out that he denied being interviewed by CoffeeZilla, who is a massive YouTuber known for exposing cryptocurrency scams. Although Mr. Beast addressed
Imagine
the
a
crypto
CoffeeZilla
scam
interview.
allegations with Oompaville,
A CoffeeZilla scam would have been. I mean, a CoffeeZilla interview would have hit.
many noticed Oompa wasn't fully educated on the topic. CoffeeZilla would have been able to see through the cracks of Jimmy's response and ask the right questions to get to the truth.
When it comes to a lot of these like answers, it always just comes like every single thing that
Moda.
I've sort of heard so far.
Shout out Moda Hart.
All of this is just I'm just being stupid, I guess. Okay, like I made a mistake. Oopsie daisy, I wasn't really thinking things through. Like it always comes out like the actual response is always either trust me, bro, when it comes to the crypto stuff, because really all these things come out to just trust me, bro. Please just believe what I'm saying. Or it comes out to clearly him going, yeah, we made a mistake. I didn't know any better. I have a team looking into it. Yada. It's all just corporate PR nonsense response.
Objectively speaking, Mr. Beast put on a masterclass of a response to controversy. In the court of public opinion, anything you say will be used against you. Even a denial can backfire. The key here is patience. It seems overwhelming, but just don't make any sudden moves. Stay silent and keep working on whatever it is you're doing. During the silence, he kept uploading videos. He did massive collaborations with the likes of iShowSpeed, Kai Cenat, and even Cristiano Ronaldo. His content pulled tens of millions of views.
That was 6
His
months
brands
ago?
continued to grow. Eventually, people will forget, but he chose to respond after the noise died down to give off the impression that he has integrity and will honor his word. His casual nature of answering questions appeals to others' humanity, and because of this, he walked away mostly clean, barely harming his reputation. However, what happens when there is video evidence that almost 100% proves a public figure guilty, and the whole world knows it? What if the evidence is undeniable? Do they keep quiet when everyone is demanding answers? Well, no one tested this better than David Dobrik. David Dobrik started his creative career as a goofy teenager.
When he smacked his friend with the train, right?
Filming short skits on Vine.
He
then
flew
moved
into the
to
crane,
LA
however
in
the
the
fuck it
early
is.
2010s to take content creation more seriously. When Vine shut down in 2017, he pivoted to YouTube. Within just a few years, he racked up over 10 million subscribers and became one of the platform's biggest stars. David became famous for his 4-minute and 20-second vlogs that would feature pranks, stunts, celebrity cameos, and a rotating crew of friends that his millions of fans loved. The group of friends would become known as the Vlog Squad. One of the most recognizable faces in the Vlog Squad was Jeff Wittick. Like David, he got hit.
I know that nigga. He do fucking That's the nigga that do the haircut barber interviews, I
Start
think.
on Vine before building his own audience on YouTube with a show called Jeff's Barbershop, where he interviewed guests while cutting their hair.
Told
Jeff
ya.
became a regular in David's vlogs, always down to get involved in the chaos, whether it was a prank or a stunt. But his loyalty to complete David's vision would have dire consequences. During the pandemic, David took a hiatus and wanted to film a massive comeback video. The premise for this vlog was to put the squad through a series of difficult or adrenaline-filled challenges. It was almost like a knockoff episode of Fear Factor. David did not want to participate in any of the challenges, but participate as
he
the
just
host
wanted to
of the
host.
show. The first challenge was to go skydiving, which went great.
That sounds
the vlog
fun.
squad traveled to Lake Utah to film the second stunt for the video, wakeboarding with
fuck
a rope
no.
tied to an excavator. And this is where things got out of control. Corinna Kopf went first and held onto the rope while David spun the excavator in a circle, almost losing control of the machine. As she swung in the air, she said, "You take things too far, David." Then it was Jeff's turn to swing from the excavator. He grabbed onto the rope and David turned up the intensity, spinning it much faster.
Why would he turn up the
realized he put
intensity?
Jeff in a dangerous situation, he
Oh,
abruptly
shit.
stopped the machine, causing Jeff to crash violently into the side of the massive metal machine. Right after the incident, Jeff was quickly rushed to a nearby hospital and immediately underwent an operation to stop the bleeding and treat all of his critical injuries, including an attempt to save his left eye. Jeff later confirmed that his injuries were extensive. "I was in a lot of pain. I tore some ligaments in my leg. I broke my foot. I shattered my hip. I shattered my skull in 9 places. I shattered my eye socket, and I almost
Oh my fucking god, the eye
died."
socket?
The rest of the vlog squad supported him and were with him in spirit. However, David had different plans. Allegedly, while Jeff was in the hospital under heavy medication, David began gathering evidence to show that the incident was not his idea. He started by screen recording a DM he had received from Jeff shortly before the incident. The message was a post from 50 Cent featuring a video of a man swinging from an excavator and wiping out. Jeff had written, "Let's recreate this." When David later showed this screen recording on his podcast, viewers
That nigga finna get hate, right? That's the only logical thing. Why the fuck is you even showing private DMs?
called him out not only for ignoring Jeff's condition, but also for trying to shift the blame onto him. Anyone notice that the post in the screen recording says 2 hours ago? He literally recorded the DM an hour after the incident, immediately trying to cover up. This strongly suggests that David was already
Nigga probably hit up a lawyer team or some shit like, "Hey, my friend, just whoa, what can I do to protect myself?"
about damage control while Jeff was still severely injured in the hospital.
I'm
After
still
his
trying to
initial
figure out.
injuries, Jeff returned to YouTube and continued his barbershop series, now incorporating his injury as a joke. Every time someone asked about it, he would joke through the pain, downplay the severity, and avoid the truth, mainly to protect his friend David. On different occasions, Jeff claimed he had fallen from a building or had a skydiving accident, but never truly revealed what happened.
Crazy, we're both a little banged up.
So what happened to you?
I fell off a building.
They were all just jokes.
I was in a skydiving accident. Chute didn't open.
I was in a lot of pain, and that's how I choose to cope with my pain.
Oh my god, he had his eyelids stitched shut.
12 stories high.
To add to the chaos behind the scenes, David was facing backlash for another controversy, including Vlog Squad member Dirty Dom, who was accused of R-wording a woman that was featured in one of David's 2018 vlogs. The video centered around Dom attempting to arrange a three-way, and the woman claimed she was so intoxicated that she could not consent. She later asked for the video to be removed, but by then, it had already amassed over 5 million views. David addressed the controversy by releasing multiple apology videos and removing Dom from the Vlog Squad. And after almost 10 months of Jeff not really answering what had happened to his eye, he finally decided to tell his subscribers what happened the day of his accident. He released a multi-part documentary on his YouTube channel that tells the entire story, with one small caveat. David was heavily involved in the editing process, as Jeff still wanted to protect him and avoid portraying him negatively.
I regret doing this too.
He was in
but
the editing
this is
process?
Me being a loyal friend, I let him pass through the edit of the doc and take out anything that made him look bad. And that day I came home from surgery, I was sitting on the couch, laying there.
You let him pass through the edit of the documentary? What the fuck? That's fucked up.
Blood coming out of my eye on fucking anesthesia, completely a vegetable, and he came right in here, ran right into the editing bay, and all he cared about was editing to clean up the video to cover up that this happened.
Despite David's best effort to control the narrative, the reactions to the documentary were not in his favor. All I understood from this video is that skydiving is safer than being around David. Natalie jumped out of a plane 26 times just to have a break from David for a week. However, David probably imagined this was just some drama that would be over soon. He continued on with his upload schedule, and the
I haven't heard about that nigga in like a year.
Two even made jokes about the situation.
Maybe it ain't been that long.
Hold on a second. Yeah, call off the lawsuit. No, he's doing something. Yeah. Right.
Over the next year, Jeff was stuck reliving this nightmare, undergoing 7 eye surgeries. Meanwhile, David continued to see exponential success. He would get fed up with the public not knowing the real story and eventually published a tell-all episode of his podcast called Dear David.
My beef with David, the fact that he is a scumbag friend, a fake friend, now that the documentary's over, doesn't give a doesn't text me, doesn't check in.
Damn.
There was literally
the docu over, so he just said, fuck it, my image back.
The doctor said, we have to move your eye 3 millimeters. We're gonna do 2.5.
Excuse me.
So we have a half a millimeter of slack. That's this much to go blind, and I couldn't get a text. That's
half
one
a
reason.
millimeter.
The other reason, him saying now, flipping the script, saying that, oh, it was Jeff's idea. He's crazy. Complete bullshit. That's number 2. Number 3. They were supposed to cover the hospital bills. They slacked because whatever the they're doing, making stupid vlogs. They didn't pay attention to something that's, I would think it's pretty important here, because the bills go to my name, and our agreement was just cover the hospital bills. I don't care about anything else. But I got a bill that wasn't paid that I didn't know about because I'm not dealing with it. I have Ivan, my assistant, deal with it, and he goes with David's team, and they didn't pay a bill. I got an infraction on my credit now. I go to get a house and I can't get a loan because now I have another. So it's just like things are piling up over and over again, and just try a little bit.
This podcast changed everything. Jeff's supporters thought this wasn't just an accident. This was a crime and needed to be pursued legally. And with the surmounting pressure towards David, he would ultimately choose to abandon his YouTube channel for years. Just before going dark, David made a calculated response not on his main channel, but on his massively less popular podcast called Views. He was willing to take some accountability, but he wanted to also refute some of Jeff's claims.
He said podcast or podcast.
A combined decision we made, and it was a complete accident. And I'm so sorry that accident happened.
That sound cap.
There's no going back from that. And then when it started to be like more 150% on me, I started to get, I don't know, I guess like, it just freaked me out more. I was just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. And then in terms of his like medical payments, so far we've paid $78,000 of surgery, and I don't know what that equates to. I don't know what that is, but I don't love the fact that he's going around saying I don't.
So they paid the surgery bills, but nothing else to sound like?
Surgeries. Like that hurts. Like I want to help him. I really, truly do. And like he still has my word.
He also doubled down on the stunt being Jeff's idea.
Jeff came up to one of my buddies and then later to me, and he was like, this is boring as shit. What are we, like preschoolers? Like, let's do something cool. And he said he wanted to swing from it, and I loved the idea. I was like, hell yeah, let's do it.
People were extremely disappointed and dissatisfied with David's
response. Did the bitch do the same thing?
He were trying to avoid taking any responsibility
whoever
for the incident.
Was in the video that
the incident as the worst thing that has ever happened to me and not the worst thing I've ever done is very telling. It was Jeff's idea, but I rented the machine, operated, filmed it, and caused permanent damage to Jeff. This is a prime example of responding to a controversy yet making everything worse. David tried to come off as personal and sincere and trying to inform the public of all the nuances of the situation, kind of like what we saw with Mr. Beast, but the public just didn't believe him. It could be his body language, his stuttering, his long and drawn out responses. The court of public opinion hates nuance.
Probably not,
the more simple something can be addressed, the better. All he had to do was say, this was all my fault, and I'm so sorry. And then behind the scenes, handle all the medical bills on time and in full, and none of the outrage probably would have happened. But he didn't say that either for legal reasons or because he genuinely did not believe it was his fault and doesn't want to pay for the medical expenses.
I'm gonna say a mix of both.
It's evident that David was trapped in this controversy with no way to get back in the good graces with the public. And after one last vlog episode on March 29th, 2022, David went completely dark on YouTube. Meanwhile, Jeff took legal action and filed a $10 million lawsuit in June 2022, accusing David of negligence. According to the suit, Dobrik was negligent in operating the equipment at a dangerous speed and acted negligently in slowing the machine down suddenly, which caused the injuries to occur after Wittek collided with the equipment while swinging. Jeff wanted accountability, but David has not personally responded to the lawsuit, and through his lawyers, David responded by claiming that Jeff was also to blame. Dobrik has denied full responsibility, claiming that the stunt was Wittick's idea and that he had asked Dobrik to not disclose this fact. Abandoning his main channel, David migrated to another platform, Snapchat. On this platform, he's allegedly making as much as
they say Snapchat pays some of the most
$10,000 a day while waiting for his controversies to fully blow over. Snapchat allowed him to stay active without facing the same level of public scrutiny. It doesn't have a comment section, so he could be completely isolated from controversy. Essentially, he was able to continue his lifestyle and flaunt it from his private corner of the internet. David even did a promotional video with Tom Cruise for the new Mission Impossible movie, acting as if his life is completely back to normal. And after a multi-year hiatus from YouTube, fans thought David would never return.
Probably not.
Suddenly, on January 7th, 2025, he uploaded a longer vlog that was 14 minutes and 20 seconds long, which showcased his body transformation. David did not address allegations or controversy, but just
it's been about 6 months.
Uploaded the video. This could easily be interpreted as him testing the waters to see if fans are still mad at him. And if you read the comments, I'd say they don't care anymore.
Oh, they don't?
Casually dropped the toughest vlog out of anyone in the last 3 years. I cannot tell you how large my smile was when I saw a new video has been uploaded.
Damn, these niggas just dick eaters.
My heart is happy. Around the same time, Meat Canyon released a satirical video responding to David's return. In the animation, a boy playing with an excavator toy drops a Jeff Wittick doll and then sees David in a sewer, parodying the scene from It. The boy makes an observation about David's character.
I'm a new person. Look, I'm different. I'm physically different. I'm different, right?
You know, David, not everyone's perfect, and I mean, we all make mistakes. If you're down here and feel guilty about something, I mean, you know you could come out and just admit it, right? Sitting down here in this sewer and showing kids your vlogs and your abs just, I don't know, just feels like you're avoiding something.
Jeff has continued to assert that they are going to court. David has repeatedly tried to get the case dismissed, but the trial date is still being decided. Even 5 years after the accident, Jeff is still making videos about this story, mostly because he has had 12 eye surgeries since the accident and lives in constant pain.
As time goes on, it seems to affect me more, and I want to be my old self. And I don't know what it's going to take to get back to that. And I don't know how I could put in your guys' heads what I'm experiencing every day. It's something that I'll deal with for life.
David's fans now think Jeff is milking the drama to try to remain relevant. But Jeff doesn't look at this as fleeting drama, as he might become blind in one eye because of this and wants justice. And while it seems like David is still trying to find his footing and could be preparing a return to his main YouTube channel, the same cannot be said for Cody Ko, who has seemingly abandoned his main YouTube channel after
forgot all about Cody Ko. What the fuck? Yo, this nigga's still going? He's still going? What the fuck? Hopefully he's still going. Hopefully he's still going. This nigga is on his second page, Cody and Cole? What the fuck? Yeah, and she stuck with him after he did that to a kid. That's crazy. Let's watch the video.
Allegations of sleeping with a minor erupted last year. Cody Ko also started his career on Vine and then transitioned to making commentary YouTube videos. He
shout out Noel Miller.
Created an iconic series called That's Cringe, where he often went viral for calling out and making fun of nonsense on the internet. Not only were him and his co-host Noel Miller funny, but he gained attention for his honest and realistic takes, often being seen as an extremely unproblematic and likable YouTuber. Beyond his videos, Cody was also known for valuing health and discipline, having completed an Ironman marathon and documenting the entire process. By 2024, he was happily married with a child and had multiple multi-million-dollar business ventures. But in 2024, that wholesome image quickly began to unravel. During a live podcast tour, YouTuber Tana Mojo was asked about her past hookups. That is when she casually dropped a name that sent the internet into a frenzy, Cody Ko. She claimed that they had intercourse course, when she was 17, which would have meant that Cody was 25 at the time. As you can imagine, people on the internet started asking questions. Isn't this illegal? Isn't this at least a bit creepy? What further corroborated the story was a potential witness, Gabby Hanna, who claims they did the act at a Playlist Live after party in Orlando, Florida in 2016.
You know what? If that's Gabby, she look familiar. She look very fucking familiar.
There's a situation with Gabby Hanna at a Playlist Live where she pulled him aside and told him like, yo, she's 17. And then we still went and hooked up.
One time I told a guy, I saw him making out with a girl at a party who was underage. And I pulled him aside and I was like, hey man, you probably don't know. I know she like looks a little older. She's underage. Watch it. And he's like, oh my God, thank you for telling me. And then he
Now, it is true that Cody, Tana, and Gabby were all at Playlist Live in 2016, as there is video footage of all of them attending the event. And because they were in Orlando, Florida, where the age of consent is 18, Cody, who was 25, engaging in sexual activity with Tana, a minor, can result in criminal charges, even if consensual. The law
we don't give a fuck about no consent. Lock that nigga up.
16 years old can't legally agree to any activity, no matter how old the other person is. Also, if someone is 16 or 17 years old, they can't legally agree to activity with a person who is 24 years or older. Ever since
lock that nigga up, cook him.
Me Too movement, the general public has rightfully taken these types of allegations more seriously. However, the key difference between this situation and others was that Tana had mixed feelings herself about the situation.
But I don't associate or hold it with trauma because I am such a comparative person where I'm like, so many worse things have happened to me. And that's bad.
I was just about to say you can't.
But at that time, though, was that the worst? Probably the worst. Lock that nigga up.
Like, but I genuinely feel that way. Like, it feels like all of the other people I hooked up with when I was 18, whether they were 30 or whether they were not 30 and they were my age.
Tana was not necessarily on a crusade to take down Cody Ko, but did recognize that the situation was a little messed up. And while she was publicly discussing this and fans were demanding a response from Cody, he remained silent. As the allegations gained more traction, Cody allegedly began filtering comments on his subreddit in an effort to control the narrative and bury the controversy.
At this point, your silence and censorship are a response with disturbing implications. The only thing that I've seen this hidden portion of your audience asking for is the truth, so why aren't you telling it?
LOL, he will never address it. He will just wait for it to die down, because honestly, addressing it will bring much more attention to it, especially from his fan base, and I honestly believe he doesn't think he's in the wrong.
I believe he should address
it was consensual, and that the Canadian age of consent is 16, so that's where his mind/morality was at with it. Now, some people in Cody's situation would have completely ignored it and just keep posting videos and podcasts like nothing was happening. However, Cody made a few key decisions that made his own fans start to look at him as guilty. Firstly, Cody stopped posting completely on his main channel in June of 2024. He continued uploading on his second channel, Cody & Co., until July 13th, 2024, which coincidentally was the day before D'Angelo Wallace released his video breaking down the entire situation. After that, Cody took the rest of the year off. Shortly after, he announced that he would be stepping down from his role as a personality at TMG Studios.
We love to see it. We love to see it. Step down.
What has transpired over the past few weeks is a personal issue for him, and Cody wants to remove any effect this is having on your professional and personal lives and the work you and other hosts have done to make TMG Studios so successful. Many interpreted this as some sort of admission of guilt. If not guilty, why stop uploading?
Sounds like guilt.
Why step down from the podcast? If not guilty, why not just address the situation and tell the truth? Remaining silent and stepping away from the internet immediately after the controversy made it obvious that he was just trying to wait for the controversy to blow over. And 6 months later, just before Christmas, when most people are not chronically online and spending time with their family, Cody randomly posted a video on his Cody Trains YouTube channel with 250,000 subscribers, where he makes videos about his passion
34
for running,
miles
but
is
fans
crazy.
could sniff out his
Bro testing the waters,
PR strategy, testing the waters on the smallest platform he has.
Interesting
tactic. At the end of this 20-minute video on his third channel,
did he drop a lore?
He kind of addressed the allegations.
Obviously, I understand I've been offline for months, haven't made videos for that whole time, and I also understand if your opinion of me has potentially changed over the last few months. I spent the first half of my career criticizing people and judging people online.
It changed very much.
I don't begrudge your judgment of me by any means. I just think all I can do right now and moving forward is just try to be the best person I can
There
be
you go. I
for
just wanted my
myself
face
and my
zoomed in.
family, and just try to continue putting the best out there that I can.
But his detractors were not satisfied with this response.
Y'all, I'm pulling my
Cody, the
cart, but
reason
like my
people's
cart
opinion
is
of you
empty,
may have
and I don't
changed
want to
in
look like
recent
a
months is
fiend on
not because
camera.
you
So
used to criticize and make fun of people online. It's
you
because
see
what
me
you
mute
did
my
is wrong.
camera.
It's as
I mean,
simple as that.
turn off my
However,
camera.
this was the only response Cody would give. And as 2025 rolled around, he posted more vlogs on his Cody Trains page, and the comment section began to slowly turn from negative to positive. Then he took one step up and started posting reaction videos on his second biggest channel, Cody & Co. These are videos that he would normally post on his main channel, but he knew the comment sections would be flooded with criticism. So
Hopefully
he
it still is.
strategically posted on his second channel to again not expose himself to his main audience. And the comments were kind of critical, but most of them were making jokes and not necessarily demanding a response to the allegations. Cody began uploading consistently, getting around 1 million views per video, and watching the comment section turn to all positivity. Cody has seemingly left his main channel in the dust. I guess he still feels like if he uploads to his 6 million subscribers, that his detractors will flood the comment section with his
he definitely will, because I'm surprised there's not a whole lot of hate in his comments now. And what I really hope, what I really hope is, I hope that this video brings more hate back to all of these people. I hope after this video, I hope this video blows up. And then I hope this video brings more hate back to all these people. Cody Co deserves the hate. Mr. Beast deserves it. Gabriel Dobrik deserves it.
allegations, and his mainstream audience will learn about his controversy. He even recently launched his own oatmeal product and has been heavily marketing it. That second stream of income is likely needed since he abandoned his main channel. It seems like Cody's core audience forgave him or never thought that he was wrong in the first place. Cody is now married and a father, so fading into a smaller, more loyal audience after over 10 years on YouTube seems to be enough for him. Cody never took full accountability. Instead, he acknowledged the existence of the accusations without confirming or denying anything. This use of strategic silence allowed him to retain his core fan base, which may have been the most favorable outcome for him in the end. That said, Cody's career will likely never be the same, and his reputation seems to be somewhat smeared from the mainstream point of view. However, while Cody at least acknowledged his allegations, Brad Pitt remained dead silent about his horrible accusations from his ex-wife Angelina Jolie. His strategy was so effective that many people don't even know how most of his children denounced him, hate him, and have even removed Pitt from their last name. And that's because Brad Pitt doesn't want you to know any of this. On the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith in 2003, the chemistry between Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie was impossible to ignore. At the time, Brad was married to Jennifer Aniston, who was at the peak of her fame as Friends was still one of the most popular shows on television. Meanwhile, Angelina had just filed for divorce from actor Billy Bob Thornton and adopted her first child, Maddox, from Cambodia the year before. The contrast between Aniston's America's sweetheart image and Jolie's rebellious persona set the stage for one of the most talked about celebrity love triangles
left
in
or right?
pop culture history.
Why is it zoomed in on my fucking wall? Hold on. We about to fix this. Right quick. Look at that. My face is back on me.
Brad and Jennifer officially divorced in 2005. Public reaction was intense, splitting fans into Team Aniston and Team Jolie, a divide that fueled tabloid headlines for years. Brad and Angelina began dating soon after and quickly expanded their family, adopting 2 more children and having 3 biological ones. And they weren't just a celebrity couple, they were the celebrity couple, commanding a level of global media obsession rarely seen before. They became known as Brangelina and dominated the 2000s in film,
parasocials before parasocials,
and philanthropy. In 2011, they purchased a vineyard named Miraval in Provence, France, for $31 million and won awards for producing the best rosé in the world. They seem to be a glimmer of hope for celebrity couples, that you can be extremely famous, successful, and have a happy marriage. But in 2016, that facade was completely destroyed. Angelina filed for divorce on September 19, 2016. She requested sole physical custody of their 6 children, which made the public suspicious. Days later, it was reported that Brad was under investigation by the FBI and Child Protective Services after an alleged incident involving him and their son Maddox on a private plane. During a private flight, Pitt allegedly became intoxicated and a heated argument erupted on the plane. Pitt choked one of the children children and struck another in the face, and grabbed Jolie by the head and shook her. At one point, he poured beer on Jolie. At another, he poured beer and red wine on the children. Brad entered rehab and began living separately from the children, and was only allowed supervised visits due to his struggles with addiction.
What I realized was I was running to things to avoid tough feelings, painful feelings.
What the hell is this? It says Brad Pitt, actor, Ad Astra. What the fuck is an Ad Astra?
I found that I use for escape, to escape those kinds of, I guess, difficult feelings. I don't know how better to describe it. I mean, that can be anything. That can be drugs, booze, Netflix, snacks. Anything.
Damn, this was a minute ago. Niggas was talking about Netflix.
I don't want to, at this point, to be running from anything. I want to be.
This was probably when Netflix was still DVDs and
shit. I want to get through the rough night.
All of their children have since dropped the Pitt surname and now go by only Jolie. This became evident when Zahara, their eldest daughter, was seen rushing a sorority and introduced herself without using Pitt. Pax, their second eldest son, went even further. In 2020, he reportedly posted a rant on his close friend's Instagram story,
asshole.
which was then screenshotted and disseminated online, where he can.
You know how much of a. Like, if I was that nigga, I'd check my close friends. Like, who the fuck do you got your close friends and screenshotting shit and then posting
his
it?
Father and
Happy Father's Day to the world class asshole. You time and time again prove yourself to be a terrible and despicable person. You have no consideration or empathy towards your 4 youngest children who tremble in fear when in your presence. You will never understand the damage you have done to my family because you are so incapable of doing so. How is it your family? The fuck?
In a response to Father's Day, he called Brad a world-class a-hole and wrote, "You have no empathy or consideration towards your 4 youngest children."
Was this one of his actual kids or this one of the niggas that he adopted? Like, why, if you adopted, why is we even speaking on that, bitch? Be happy they took you out of wherever the fuck you was at.
Who tremble in fear of
it could have been
presence.
anybody else.
You should know that the FBI and the police dropped any criminal charges against Brad due to lack of evidence. It was agreed by all parties that criminal charges in this case would not be pursued due to several factors. The FBI report described Miss Jolie as conflicted on whether or not to be supportive of the charges related to the case. Angelina is vocal about the allegations, but she isn't necessarily on an all-out crusade to expose him. In an interview with The Guardian, Angelina was asked directly about the situation, but had a indirect way of answering it. The interviewer asked, "Are you talking about your divorce from Brad Pitt and the allegations you have made against him of domestic abuse?" She tells me she is sworn to silence. Well, not
sworn to silence. They got her on an NDA.
Allegations. She nods. And did she fear for the safety of her children? This time she answers, "Yes. For my family, my whole family." Brad has remained radio silent on the matter, which
did she just get coerced into answering a question by a fucking paparazzi?
Proven to be effective because many people don't even know these allegations exist. In
never heard of him.
Press releases, and new business ventures, he is never with his children, never mentions his children, or talks about his family at all. You would think he is just a random single guy. Brad has chosen the strategy of letting lawyers do all the talking for him, or letting sources close to him respond to the press. For example, a source told Page 6, Brad may have been drinking and admits that he yelled at his son, but he insists he did not hit him or attempt to harm him. It was a confrontation that got out of hand. As Brad Pitt continues to speak only through his team, it shows the strength of this strategy lies in the
people with children need to be hit if they being bad, so like fuck it.
The allegations directly, Brad maintains a sense of mystique around the situation. His silence allows the public to draw their own conclusions whether they believe he is guilty or not. However, with no direct statement from Brad, the public is left with nothing more than Angelina's account to shape their perception. Even if the majority believe Angelina, Brad's silence gives him the advantage of plausible deniability. In the absence of a clear denial or admission, many people default to giving him the benefit of the doubt. As he continues to remain silent, Brad's career has carried on uninterrupted. He is currently in a relationship with a model named Inez de Ramon and is regularly seen with A-list celebrities such as George Clooney and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Was they in a boat filled with water? All right, I can't tell. Do the boat got water on it? Oh, that's wood. That's the wood reflecting their...
celebrities such as George Clooney and Leonardo DiCaprio. Brad is also still winning awards 30 years into his career. Most notably, he won Best Supporting Actor at the 2020 Academy Awards. He continues to star in major films, including the highly anticipated F1 movie releasing this summer, in which he plays the lead role and was
cannot wait for that F1 shit.
Reddit users have taken note of how effectively his team has managed public perception, with some even unaware of the allegations. I didn't even know there were allegations, to be honest.
Top 1% poster? What
He's got a pretty remarkable...
How much do you have to be on Reddit to be a top 1% poster?
Honestly, very little of it has really penetrated the public consciousness. So if this video gets deleted, you know why. And I do have to deal with deleted videos or copyright claims or blocked videos all the time, so just before ask first there if you prefer Spotify. What's crazy is it took them 8 years to settle this divorce. The legal battle officially concluded on December 30th, 2024, and for the first time in nearly a decade, Brad responded, but barely. The interviewer asked, "Does anything feel different being on the other side of the divorce, finally being finalized?" I ask, "Is there relief?" Brad said, "No. I don't think it was that major of a thing, just something coming to fruition legally." So an 8-year-long divorce from the love of his life, who he built a pop culture empire and multi-million-dollar wine business with, as well as his children disowning him and removing his last name, was
just another day.
Not that major of a thing. Damn, Brad Pitt is ice cold. But again, this is merely just a more professional PR strategy. Brad simply trying to downplay a major conflict and stay as silent as possible so the public doesn't go deep diving into his personal life and connecting dots that he thinks aren't there. And while it is clear that the silence has helped him avoid his career from spiraling out of control, there is another figure who takes this strategy to the next level. Despite mounting evidence, police reports, media coverage, and growing pressure from fans, he says absolutely nothing.
Pressure from fans about what? What the fuck happened?
Playboi Carti has long been one of the most polarizing figures in music.
Bro, I feel like this nigga the devil in real life, bro. Like, what the fuck is this? This nigga just look creepy.
Voice in the SoundCloud era, a movement that many struggled to accept
y'all
due
listen
to
to
its
Carti.
minimalistic and anti-lyrical approach. Nevertheless, Carti continued to build a fiercely loyal fan base that supported him unconditionally. That fan base turned into a cult following after the release of his third album, Whole Lotta Red. But the controversy surrounding him extends far beyond music. He has a long history of abuse allegations against women, stemming from a 2015 vlog clip where he describes beating up random girls at a gas station.
They got a clip from a vlog from 2015.
Y'all laughing at? I'm not saying, bro. Y'all laughing at? What? Boom! Start tagging their ass. Look, start tagging their ass. We be breaking everything. You hear niggas? Get out the stove. They call the police.
His ex-girlfriend from that time, Ruby Rose,
they just hitting random bitches.
Described a time where he shot a gun in her general direction as an intimidation tactic.
He shot at her?
He would come to my house, and I lived in the hood in Pittsburgh, and like people would shoot all the time, and he would like shoot off my balcony. But then like one time, we got in a little argument because I hid his phones before his flight. And
well, why would you do that, you stupid bitch?
This was like we were outside. He like it wasn't directly at me. It was just more like.
That sounds cap.
Okay, so before this incident.
As fans celebrated
she
the
just trying
release
to protect
of
that
his
nigga. That
Whole Lotta
sounds
Red
cap.
album, his ex-girlfriend, Iggy Azalea, who is also the mother of his first child, Onyx, did a 30-minute live stream to expose the character of the man that his fans idolize.
Please know these two people knew exactly what they were doing. You've been doing it while I was pregnant. This man didn't even come to see his son be born. He went to Philly to play the PlayStation with little Uzi. He thought that was more important than seeing his son be born. And I had a scheduled C-section, by the way, because my son was so big.
Any other man missing their son's birthday would be seen as less than. But Carti stayed silent and never confirmed if this was true or not. What really showed how little Carti's fans cared about Iggy's complaints is that the fans would clip Iggy's live stream and sample her on the intro of a Playboi Carti and Uzi leaked song called Throw It Up. The remix accumulated over 400,000 views, and the comments comment section demonstrates that his fans thought these allegations made him look cooler. But in 2022, Cardi was accused of much more serious crimes, including allegations of abusing
Choking
and
your
choking
pregnant
his
girlfriend?
Brandy Marion. According to the police report, the woman told police the rapper grabbed her by her throat and pushed her, holding her neck until she could barely breathe. She even told cops she thought she was going to die. According to reports, Cardi allegedly assaulted Marion during an argument over a paternity test while she was pregnant with his daughter Eve. When the body cam footage was released, it showed Marion visibly distressed as she recounted the incident to police officers.
I'm just so shaken up, I can't even think straight. I'm just trying to think of what is really the right thing for me to do right now.
Well, you put your hands on. Well, you put his hands on you, and you're pregnant. And you keep been doing that for a while, correct?
Yeah, it's just the first time it's happened.
Okay, do you want to press charges on him? No? Or yes? Because if you don't, we can still do a report without pressing the charge, but it's going to just be documented that you called police out here because he touched you or assaulted you, sorry.
Can I eventually, like, if I do decide to, like, when my head clears up, press charges, or would I have to do that?
No, you don't have to do that right now.
Cardi was arrested, then booked on December
W police officer for giving her like all the things you can do.
29th and released on a $100,000 bail.
That's not shit. That's not shit for that nigga. Even then, that's still if he wasn't a big rapper, that's still only 10K. That's 10%.
Made no statements, but his attorney, Brian Steele, told TMZ Mr. Carter was falsely accused. Pursuant to my communications with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, this case will be dismissed without any prosecution or litigation. As this controversy surfaced online, Iggy Azalea chimed in to let everyone know that Cardi was not present in his son's life. Imagine having a pregnant girlfriend and
why does bitch Iggy keep talking? Like, it seemed like she just trying to find some, gain some clout or some shit.
Until it comes out, you like to abuse them too, and rarely visiting your actual son unless it's because you're running from whatever problems you got going on in Atlanta and the press with your serial abuse of women. At the time, Cardi was working closely with Kanye West on Donda 2. Despite the severity of the allegations and the attention they received, Cardi chose to not address them. He continued appearing at the album's listening events, sporting the now iconic clown makeup that made him go viral, and any headlines about his arrest were largely ignored or overshadowed. Reddit users took notice of the situation, commenting, "How the hell did Cardi not get cancelled? He beat a pregnant woman up and then headlined one of the biggest festivals of the year. How?" Another user replied perfectly, "He's quiet and people forget things fast." Playboy Cardi never addresses controversy and rarely says anything at all. For nearly 4 years, he barely posted on social media, didn't do interviews, and keeps his private life completely off the record. This silence isn't just avoidance, it's strategy. By saying less, he gives fans more to speculate about, fueling an aura that keeps his name in conversations without him ever needing to speak. He's like an abstract figure who exists more as a symbol than a man, and it's sad to say this, but him allegedly abusing women probably just adds to the aura that his fans praise him for. After all, his lyrics often portray women in a dismissive or controlling manner, looking at them as nothing more.
Bitches on me, said she like my clothing. I'm in London. Young Cardi Global. Designer is on me. Call it dirty laundry. All these bitches want Young Cardi. Young Cardi.
More than sex objects, so fans wouldn't really be
this
that surprised.
This is what niggas listen to.
To find out
y'all enjoy music like
that in real life. Following the allegations, Cardi continued to collaborate with major artists like Travis Scott, The Weeknd, and even pop stars like Camila Cabello and Madonna. Anticipation for his next album grew rapidly, becoming one of the most hyped releases in recent history. But due to Cardi's extremely cryptic approach to both his music and personal life, the allegations lost momentum. His silence allowed him to sidestep the controversy entirely, and when he eventually rolled out his new album, Music, Cardi reached the commercial peak of his career, selling nearly 300,000 units in a single week and achieving the 7th biggest streaming day of all time on Spotify, behind artists like Taylor Swift, Bad Bunny, and Drake. Ignoring controversy entirely only works under the right conditions. If the public figure is too famous, or the evidence is too damning, and their comment sections or IRL interviewers are constantly demanding answers, they might be forced to speak. However, the next best thing to do is barely address it. And with so many celebrities constantly getting into trouble and drama news reporters needing new material, 99% of the time the celebrity just needs to
just gonna go
be
on
patient,
about
keep
their day.
working, let the backlash die down, because the public will either forget or just stop caring.
That's crazy. It's an interesting video. All right, this next video is a $23 million bet that ruined Note. I'm curious about this because Note used to be all over my feed, and now they're not. I used to watch Note videos, and then just like one day I just stopped watching, and then I haven't seen them niggas all over my feed, and like it's been like a year since I've seen them on my feed. Actually, I can't lie, I just seen a couple of videos of theirs the other day, but like I didn't watch the entire shit. Just popped up on my feed.
Or you sack up, throw the chips in, and pray to God you've got the better hand. For years, the Note Boys have done exactly that, going all in again and again, each hand raising the stakes higher than before. For them, it was always about going against the grain, doing things their way system. It was reckless, it was risky, and it was something nobody else had the balls to try.
Niggas getting cut.
It paid off big time, because they forged one of the most fiercely loyal fan bases ever seen on this platform.
And my full send tat is
Somewhere along
crazy.
the way, the risk turned into routine. The edge dulled, and what started as a rebellion started to look a lot more like greed.
What is the purpose of 3 fucking monitors? Like, this shit is just useless.
Turned into routine.
Got a fucking vertical monitor, a top monitor, and a bottom monitor. That's useless, I feel
Tomorrow,
like.
we are going to be announcing our NFT project.
The Metacorp
I remember that.
NFT. It was a golden ticket, a digital pass to whatever Full Send built next. Dozens of ideas, endless promises, but the real pitch was simple. Buy in now and be a part of history later. And it worked, because in just 10 minutes, Note raked in $23 million. That's 38 grand every goddamn second. And then they vanished, pulled the plug, and disappeared.
23 million fucking 10 minutes and 10 days, what did it say?
Do you think that they're bad people and their intentions from the start were to walk out with 23 million and do nothing?
I mean,
This is like a CoffeeZilla type of interview. This bitch my head. This bitch my head.
If you really want to understand how this all started, you have to go back. Way back to July 6th.
I'm about to just say, fuck this cart. This bitch barely smoking. And I'm tired of turning off my camera. I don't want to look like a fiend on camera.
He grabbed a couple of childhood friends, a cheap camera, and launched a channel called Nelk. No plan, no real roadmap, just a bunch of kids chasing a feeling. Around the same time, just a few towns over, another kid named Jesse Sebastiani was making moves of his own. MTV had greenlit a new series called Careless Teens. 8 episodes of homegrown stunts and chaos, shot on nothing but handheld cameras in the middle
Nothing
of
but
nowhere.
handhelds,
It was
okay.
basically Jackass for small town Canada, and Jesse was the star of it. Nelk started out as a free-for-all, prank videos one day and short films the next. But as Kyle finished high school and gave film school a shot, something started to
Who
click.
grandma was
the
that?
channel was building momentum, and Kyle
And he
realized
goes to clap somebody grandma.
he didn't need a degree to make a living online. He just needed to go all in. So he dropped out,
He
and
just
soon
needed to
after,
have fun.
those 2 small-town kids chasing the same dream finally crossed paths. Jesse's background in pulling off idiotic stunts and reckless pranks cut from the same cloth as Jackass. brought an
Oh
edge to
my
Nelk that most
God,
YouTubers
what
couldn't
the
fathom. And their
fuck?
first video together perfectly encapsulates that. A prank on strangers in public, where the boys quite literally lit themselves on fire and blamed innocent bystanders. Was it the best idea ever? No, but YouTube isn't about making sense. It's about getting people to click. From there, they followed that same strategy, with each video elevating the shock value. From pranking cops with donuts to ordering pizzas to fake meth labs, each stunt grew louder, riskier, and more absurd than the last. And in doing so, they carved out a lane that no one else dared to touch. The bad boys of YouTube.
Practical joke could have consequences.
Hold on. I'm gonna guess what this is. This is the Coke video. This is the Coke prank video.
Complaint against the LAPD has gone viral online, and the department is speaking out. What you guys up to? Nothing, just.
I fucking knew it. The Coke prank video.
Nothing. Huh? Oh my God.
Pat, the video posted online has already received tens of thousands of views.
Is your buddy back here okay? I don't know. Yeah, he's fine. You're fine.
The pranksters say it was all harmless fun, but the LAPD is not laughing.
I can't do this. I can't do this. Man. We have a bunch of coke in the back. I'm sorry.
Dude. A bunch of coke
What?
Kyle. All right. Okay, man. Step out of the... We're going to do this one by one.
One of the officers starts to handcuff them, the other goes around to check the trunk. Instead of cocaine, it is just Coca-Cola.
This video mattered for a dozen reasons. It didn't just blow up.
That was a
on
W
YouTube,
fucking
it blew
video.
outside of it. Mainstream news picked it up. Headlines in the Daily Mail, Cosmopolitan, Inside Edition. It racked up over 50 million views and became one of the most talked about uploads on the platform. But for Kyle and Jesse, it meant more than views. It was validation, a green light.
We're gonna what? take over in 6 months.
We're gonna kill it.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna kill it. Team out on top. Cheers.
But here's what they don't tell you about green lights. They don't always take you straight to the finish line. That moment didn't change their lives overnight. It didn't come with a golden ticket or a fat paycheck. What it gave them was potential. Possibility.
It was a lot of work. Them niggas had to lock
where
in.
they're too big to be nobodies,
Verified.
but not big enough to walk away from everything else. And every creator eventually ends up here, in no man's land. The numbers are promising, the audience is growing, you're close enough to taste it, but not close enough to leap. Jump too early and you crash, too late and you miss the wave. And honestly, that's exactly where we've been. Countless hours scripting, filming, and editing, dumping every dollar.
Bro, deadass, I don't give a fuck.
In what we're doing. We teamed up with Underdog and
Bro, fuck Underdog Sports, bro. Deadass, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, I don't
Every dollar
care.
Nelk made went straight back into the channel. Flights, props, gear, videographers. They started bouncing from city to city, campus to campus.
That nigga Nino was weird. Y'all remember what happened with Nino?
Next high.
Maybe they'll
next
say
headline, across Canada,
that nigga
down
got
to the
caught up
States, wherever they had
doing
to go to
some
pull
wild
off the next
shit.
big prank. And as the views kept climbing, so did the lifestyle. No more crashing in cars or sleeping on fans' couches. Now it was hotel rooms and Airbnbs.
We're gonna get a beer pong table out here soon.
After 3 long years in the social media rat race, it finally felt like they'd made it. Like they could take a second just to breathe. But something was on the horizon. Something that would choke the life out of YouTube itself. In early 2017, the London
Adpocalypse.
Times dropped a headline that hit like a Molotov. Big brands through online adverts. Catchy,
Fuck
terrifying,
shit.
and just true enough to start a fire. As it turns out, extremist, racist, and hate-filled videos on YouTube were being accidentally sponsored by the likes of Mercedes, Honda, and Pepsi. Yeah.
What? Damn, I forgot all about this era. What the fuck?
Soft drinks and sedans paying for jihadist rants. And the backlash was immediate. From Madison Avenue to Silicon Valley, panic spread like a wildfire. AT&T pulled
Hundreds
out.
of
Verizon
mil.
ghosted. Johnson & Johnson hit the eject button so fast, you'd think they just discovered asbestos in the comments section.
Well, Google could lose as much as $750 million because of its advertiser boycott.
YouTube, caught mid-free fall, did what every tech giant does under pressure. They overcorrected.
We apologize when anything like that happens. We don't want it to happen, you don't want it to happen, and we take responsibility for it.
YouTube immediately bent
Yes,
over. What
save
can we
it.
change? How can we please you advertisers so you'll continue to advertise on this platform?
New monetization rules dropped like a morality sledgehammer. Suddenly you couldn't swear, couldn't stage a slap, anything even adjacent to violence, drugs, or sex. Age
It's
restricted,
fucked up.
monetized, buried.
The secret Lambo that no one can buy. YouTube has deemed that video not suitable for most advertisers.
How?
And worst of all, this wasn't human moderation. It was an algorithm wired to shoot first and ask questions later.
But you're telling me hundreds of thousands of dollars that should have been mine just because your robotic algorithm hates my videos?
Videos vanished, ad dollars dried up. Creators got slapped with demonetization notices faster than they could refresh their dashboards.
Why is my income being affected even though I'm doing the same thing I've always done and I wasn't part of the problem to begin with?
Now, if you're someone like Casey Neistat,
They was on
this was just
bullshit.
an annoying PR blip. Stay clean, play nice, and ad dollars will soon come trickling back. But if you're Nelk, if your entire brand is the chaos, suddenly you're not just demonetized, you're blacklisted.
What was the list of stuff you can't include in your videos?
Pretty much everything we do, you know, swearing, like drinking, smoking, even making jokes about that kind of stuff. It has to be for kids.
Unless you're basically Barney on YouTube or Arthur, you're not gonna make money.
Ultimately, they had two choices. Bend the knee to
That's how it
online
was.
YouTube algorithm, rebrand, repackage, and pretend you were ever advertiser friendly in the first place. Or say f the whole system.
So what we've decided to do is we've started a Nelk Kickstarter page.
You see, the typical influencer business
Nelk.com?
model looks like this. 3 income streams: brand partnerships, YouTube ad revenue, and
And
merch.
merch.
Nelk cut
Okay.
out 2 of the legs, leaving them fully dependent on
Just
their
merch.
fans to survive.
So basically you can go on that website right now and you can donate and you can help support us, keep us going.
And it worked. Over 175 supporters stepped
W.
up to raise $7,912 in their Kickstarter campaign. And sure, some of them donated enough to get a t-shirt or a hoodie, but what they were really buying was time. Just enough to keep the fire burning. The tour across North America rolled on. Cross-country mayhem,
Bids.
next-level pranks, and algorithm-defying uploads. Nelk passed the 1 million subs and even landed a bedroom to live in at the legendary Cloud House. Paid for by none other
I remember
than
them days.
But as the months went on and the Kickstarter money began circling the drain, most would have panicked, cut the cameras, and called it a wrap. But Kyle and Jesse weren't built like that. They weren't waiting around for a bailout, and they'd actually been quietly
Nah,
building
figure
the
it
next
out.
move for months. And in
Full
late
send.
2017, they dropped it.
Bro, I wanted some of those full send hoodies so bad. I wanted some of those full send hoodies so bad. I just never had the money at the time.
This video,
merch is live finally.
The drops were limited edition, with a premium feel. It was supreme by way of YouTube. This wasn't slap a logo on a team merch, it was a statement, made for diehards, the ones who didn't just watch Nelk, but lived it. And full send became the uniform of that movement.
Yeah, with this heavy.
By their second merch drop, 2,000 hoodies vanished off the site in under 33 minutes. Gone, like Ferris Bueller on a day off.
Holy
That's a lot.
Insane. You gotta show them this 905.
Kids were so desperate to get their hands on the drop that eBay listings started showing up for $500 a pop.
Holy That's insane.
Boys, if
$500 a pop is crazy.
You're gonna have to like wait for that upload when we release, man.
One hoodie for $500. That's not fashion, that's fandom weaponized.
I remember that low key. I remember like trying to wait and get a drop.
Everywhere Nelk showed up, it turned into a scene. Parties turned into riots. Bars became flash mobs. They handed out merch like candy and threw stacks of cash like it was Monopoly money. It wasn't marketing, it was mayhem. And the fans, they gave back. Badges, name tags, uniforms, whatever the next prank needed, they delivered. But the farther Nelk pushed past YouTube's rules, the more inevitable it became. The system was going to fight back.
Eventually.
One of my favorite prank channels, Nelk, got their YouTube partnership.
Bro, who is this nigga? He look fucking familiar.
Terminated today.
Nelk dropped a video where they pretended to be Google employees, wandering the halls of the Silicon
I remember this video.
Valley HQ with fake badges, trolling other workers.
You think Google's even gonna last? I think Bing's taken over. You kind of look like a Bing kind of guy too, no?
And YouTube didn't just dislike it, they declared war. First, Nelk was dropped by their MCN, fully demonetizing their channel.
Or MCN, the people that pays us through YouTube, just terminated our contract for the Google video. Sick.
Completely removed from the platform. A second strike hit their channel, a 2-week upload ban from YouTube.
Sick. Like, it gets 1 million views and then they just take it down
or block you from uploading your content.
That's so annoying, man.
Just like that, the loudest voices on the platform were locked out of their own playground. But here's the thing, Nelk wasn't just some channel anymore. They were a problem, and their fans went nuclear. Tens of thousands swarmed YouTube's social medias, comments flooded in, free Nelk, YouTube, page after page, platform-wide unity. The mob wasn't just angry, they were loyal, organized, and everywhere. YouTube tried to cut off Nelk's legs.
Shout out Juice Squad.
Showed up with prosthetics and a war chant.
Steve. Drink, motherfucker, drink. Motherfucker drink, motherfucker drink, motherfucker drink.
2018 was the year Nelk stopped being a YouTube channel and became a movement. They
hit
2 million subscribers,
hell yeah.
sold out meetups across North America, and A-list cameos flooded their channel. Nelk wasn't just a part of the party scene anymore, they were defining it. But they were still missing one ingredient, a wildcard, a grenade. Steve Will Do It exploded on Instagram and Twitter with challenge videos that looked like deleted scenes.
I think it just chug hot sauce.
Slamming entire bottles of booze and eating like he had a death wish, it was disgusting. But it was also mesmerizing. It was everything Nelk didn't know that they needed. So they threw him into a drinking and lectures prank, and the thing detonated. One video and the fans were hooked. Overnight, Steve wasn't just a guest star, he was a main character. Kyle, Jesse, and Steve formed Nelk into a trio, and from there, it was just hit after hit after hit. From that point on, the frat presidents of the internet had a new mission, to take the throne of social media. They started pulling back from their one-dimensional shock and awe pranks, and leaned into something sharper, storytelling. More vlogs, more behind the scenes, more of them. The pranks were still the bait, but now their personalities were the hook.
I hate that fucking prank YouTubers do this shit. Like, they started off with pranks. Like, a lot of prank YouTubers start off with pranks. They get their following, and then they try to, like, start to make people care about their life. Like, bro, I just want to see pranks.
Each upload felt bigger, tighter, more cinematic. They brought in creative killers like Ozgod and built out a 20-person team to keep the content machine firing on all cylinders.
Damn, a 20-person team?
A European tour filled with months of chaos, over-the-top pranks, and viral moments. It was Nelk's first run through Europe, and it cemented their spot as top-tier creators on the platform. And while they were lighting up cities overseas, they dropped their latest full-send collection. It sold out in 30 minutes. $13 million worth of merch, gone in a flash.
Damn.
132K? People are on the website
right now.
32,000 people on the website
right now.
What the
and
fuck?
That was the moment the rest of the influencer world realized. The game had changed. What started as basic tees and hoodies had evolved into monthly drops that moved like Supreme on Adderall. Nelk had rewritten the merch playbook, releasing actual products their fans could use in their day-to-day lives. Shotgunning tools, beer funnels, lighters, pong tables. And just like that, Full Send wasn't a slogan anymore, it was a standalone brand. But the success didn't fill them.
That's
it just
hard.
gave them a budget to think bigger and take more. The houses got bigger.
So what happened?
Higher. And beneath the chaos, a strategy was forming. While other creators played it safe, Nelk kept doing the unthinkable. They pushed all their chips in, again and again and again, and every time, the fans were right there behind them. No hesitations, no questions. It didn't matter the risk, didn't matter the price, the audience would foot the bill. So they kept betting on themselves, adding new faces to the lineup, leveling up the content, pushing the limits of what a controversial internet group could achieve.
Oh shit. Bro, how about you hype up my stream by killing yourself? You ever think of that one?
Brand off of content deemed too rated R for brands is challenging in itself, but scaling it into an empire without losing the edge, that takes precision, patience, a different kind of animal altogether. So Nelk did something no one expected. They brought in a suit, not the kind that talks in circles or
that one nigga just ruined it for all of y'all.
But the kind that plays the long game. Quiet.
Every promoter that come in here is banned.
John Shahidi came in. John Shahidi is an incredible networker and connected individual.
John Shahidi has spent decades working alongside Hollywood A-listers. Before the term creator economy took off, he was building apps for names like Mike Tyson and Chad Ochocinco, helping turn celebrities into tech products. When Vine shut down, he gave its top creators, Rudy Mancuso, Anwar Jabawi, Lele Pons, and Hannah Stocking, a second act on YouTube. But the centerpiece of it all was Justin Bieber.
Yo, we in Canada, baby, hometown. We got Major up here, we got Johnny, we got Samuel.
He was more than just a client. Bieber partnered with Shahidi to launch Shots of Me, a selfie-sharing app that in some ways anticipated BeReal. No comments, no public likes, just raw front-facing camera posts in a tightly controlled space. Shahidi wasn't just building
Never heard of that app.
He was engineering the environments his talent moved through.
John Shahidi, brilliant guy.
Kyle and the Nelk Boys brought in John Shahidi to help engineer their next big swing, Happy Dad.
Boys, we made a fucking seltzer.
Oh, I forgot all about this shit.
Alcohol brands don't just reach out. They throw 8-figure checks at you to drink their beer online. But Nelk wasn't looking to rent their image out. They wanted ownership. They wanted scale. They wanted a billion-dollar beverage brand with their name on the can.
We didn't really want to call it like Nelk Seltzer or like Full Send Seltzer. We were all putting ideas in the group chat, and someone said Happy Dad.
Happy Dad was their shot at it, another entry into the seltzer's arm race, but with a twist. While other brands leaned into pastel palettes and tall, skinny cans, Happy Dad showed up looking like a beer.
No more skinny can bullshit. We don't need it in a skinny can. There's no reason for that.
Simple, familiar, built for guys who didn't want to explain what they were drinking.
We want to give it like a beer marketing kind of vibe. Like, we're trying to make this seltzer for like boys.
The branding was subtle but sharp, masculine without trying too hard, meme-friendly without being a joke, and the formula backed it up. Low sugar, added electrolytes, and a cleaner finish.
Electrolytes and alcohol.
It wasn't just about selling cans, it was about building something that actually had legs.
This drink's gonna be for
everybody. Dads, moms, future dads. A lot of future dads.
Happy Dad launched in June of 2021, and it didn't just land, it detonated.
Well, there's no problem. If you had a gun, shoot him in the head.
Let's fucking go, boys! Let's go! It's a fucking Happy Dad!
They can't even park all the way in the parking spot.
What started as a regional release in a handful of states snowballed into a national
regional
phenomenon.
release.
Within the first year, it expanded
national?
to 16 states and moved over 698,000 cases. It wasn't just a drink, it was a character in the Nelk cinematic universe. Front and center in every party montage, every Full Send podcast episode, every chaotic night was fueled by Happy Dad. Stores couldn't stock it fast enough. Fans
You still do they podcast?
Easy Season 1. Shelves emptied in hours. Resellers flipped
Is that
cases
real?
online. Happy Dad merch was gone in
Is that
Easy Season
real?
1.
Niggas chasing a truck.
Resellers flipped cases online. Happy Dad merch was gone in minutes. Momentum kept snowballing. New flavors dropped. Demand surged. In its first full year, Happy Dad sold over 31.2 million cans, bringing over $46.8 million in gross sales. And they weren't easing off the gas. Today, Happy Dad isn't just a seltzer, it's a top 4 titan, sitting behind only White Claw, Truly, and Topo Chico. It's the official hard seltzer of the LA Clippers, and with high-profile collabs with Snoop Dogg,
What the
Death Row
fuck?
Records, Drewski, and DJ Pauly D, Happy Dad became the most followed beer or seltzer brand on social media.
And look, the fans are amazing. Look at these guys.
I love you!
I'm like lost for words. It feels like it literally feels like a dream.
But as the numbers grew, views, merch, drink sales,
What
so did the
happened?
headcount. New offices, bigger headquarters, departments, roles, titles. Suddenly, Nelk wasn't a tight-knit crew making chaos in dorms.
Now
and gas
there is
station
a
parking
huge
lots.
fucking
It was a
company.
corporation, and with that shift, the energy changed. The content wasn't about what felt exciting anymore. It was
It's about paying the bills, paying them niggas.
Formed, not what was
They can't take that risk of taking the L and then losing the whole fucking company.
fun, but what hit quotas? Deadlines replaced spontaneity. Spreadsheets replaced instincts. Somewhere between the boardroom meetings and strategy calls, that beautiful chaos, the kind they used to chase across college campuses with nothing but a camera and a feeling, got traded in for quarterly projections. And it started to weigh heavy, especially on Jesse.
Right after that nigga Jesse quit, I feel like they went downhill. Honestly, you love what the fuck we do, but I hate being such a target. It's cliche.
How you felt?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, for sure.
When did you start feeling that?
I hate fame.
Probably like
shit
around my last year, I'd say.
For Jesse and Kyle, Nelk was never supposed to be a business. It was a passion project. Two kids from nowhere, trying to out-crazy each other and see if the internet would notice. The joy was in the unknown, the freedom, the reckless purity of it. But now, every upload came with pressure. Every decision came with millions watching. The character Jesse had once played so effortlessly, the party animal, the wild card, the rebel,
Oh, I smell a sin, baby!
became a mask he couldn't take off. By the time he hit his late 20s, it wasn't fun anymore. The drinking, the
Sick.
traveling, the same party on a different night in a different city. He had grown. But
Doing the same shit every day over and over.
Little, he pulled away. He sold his shares, left the company.
He's this nigga runs Sundays, right?
And just like that, half of what made Nelk feel like Nelk was no longer in the room. It wasn't an announcement, it wasn't a scandal, it was a quiet exit from something that had once been a dream. And while the machine kept moving, something was missing. The spark, the soul, the feeling from that first video, when two kids lit themselves on fire and laughed like they had nothing to lose. Now, they had everything to lose. And Jesse didn't want to lose himself with it.
I understand.
This is where the
Shit's
story was
like,
supposed to end.
damn.
A rise, a fall, a cautionary tale about chasing the impossible and the quiet devastation of actually catching it.
But what happened?
A few weeks into making this video, we found something. A class action. $23 million on the line. And right at the center of it all, the Nelk
just
boys.
fell
Now,
from
if
the
you're as chronically
ceiling,
online
bro?
as I am, you probably remember the full send metacard. Maybe it was
Yes,
that random.
I remember, but I want to see what the fuck just fell from my ceiling. What the fuck? Nah. Cooked. A fucking flying ant, I guess, just fell and he smacked my leg and a whole bunch of shit. Like, smacked my leg and a whole bunch of shit. I don't know what the fuck that little nigga came from, but it's no longer
Random
there.
Snoop Dogg concert was chronically $3 million on the line. And right at the center of it all, the Nelk boys.
Nelk Medicare lawsuit. Trent Smith versus John Shahidi.
Now, if you're as chronically online
Sick.
as I am, you probably remember the Full Send Metacard. Maybe it was that random Snoop Dogg concert or the vague promise of Full Send gyms popping up across the country.
The Nelk Boys NFT just launched
I
and
remember that.
sold out in seconds. At the time, the Metacard was hyped up as the next big thing in crypto. But after those clips made their rounds, I never heard about it again.
Where do you
Was hyped up as the next big thing in crypto. But after those clips made their rounds,
see me listed as an advisor? Also, at Metacard is not a cash grab, as we have built and are still building. So that's a bit of false info you got going on there. On October 13,
I never heard about it
2022.
again. Just another failed NFT project laid to rest in the digital graveyard. Or at least that's what I assumed. Because as this lawsuit makes clear, the Full Send Metacard wasn't some flopped NFT dream. It was a playbook for vanishing millions. On January 18th, 2022, Kyle Forgeard, John Shahidi, and the Nelk crew revealed
Snake
that
oil
they claimed was the
salesman.
next evolution of NFTs. Not cartoon monkeys or pixelated penguins, this one was all about utility, and in 24 hours, they'd be up for sale.
As we build this empire, you're one of 10,000 people that's getting access to everything that we're gonna fucking do. And I know a lot of people out there believe in us.
Yeah, what
and
if
those are the people that
10,000?
we want. We want people that say, hell yeah, I would go to a Full Send hotel and casino in 5 years.
The goal, at least on paper, was simple. Build something that gave real value to cardholders, beyond Twitter clout. It was framed as a way for fans to buy into the Nelk empire, and walk away with a piece of it.
So it's kind of like they're investing and getting a return, you know?
And you're taking
Right.
that money and fueling it into all these different things you're building, right?
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I wanted to buy one of these.
Yeah, a ton of money.
Think of it as a decentralized stock. Skip the venture dinners, bypass the suits, Kyle could go straight to the fans, raise capital, and launch their next big brand without asking permission. When the announcement hit, Twitter lit up. Hundreds of thousands flooded into
To the
Discord,
moon.
so many that they crashed the entire server. And in a live stream that night, the details dropped. 10,000 metacards at $2,300 each.
And I want to open shit up soon. Like, I don't want this to be like, you know.
This isn't like, thank you for this tomorrow and we'll see you next year. Like, we're getting to work right away.
Ideas were tossed left and right: lounges, gyms, sports bars, and even casinos. It seemed that with this $23 million, Full Send was gearing up for brick-and-mortar landmarks. Buying a Metacard wasn't just buying an NFT, it was buying a seat at the table. Cardholders got more than access and merch discounts. They got influence. They weren't just in the room, they had a say in what the room became. So after the project went live, then all 10,000...
Did that fuck them up? Low-key, that might have fucked them up, giving 10,000 niggas a fucking, what's it called?
Sold in the first 10 minutes. Then what happened?
Might have fucked them up.
Well, we allege that they received approximately $23 million from the sale, an additional $3 to $4 million in secondary royalties. So let's just call it $25 million total. They've got $25 million. They spent $1 million, $2 million, maybe $3 million on a concert with Snoop Dogg that a few hundred people attended, a single game suite at a football game, some merchandise, some giveaways. Let's call it $1 million or $2 million or $3 million. It doesn't matter. They then abandoned the project, we believe, and pocketed the 20 some odd $1 million.
If you go to the Metacard website, you'll find a neat little timeline, milestone after milestone of the Nelk.
Previous events, Metacard is minted, invited a holder to UFC 270 Anaheim. The boys had an extra ticket to 270, which they came to this girl holders in Orange County that day.
Team giving back to holders. A $100,000 giveaway. Free UFC tickets. SoFi Stadium box seats for Chargers and Rams games. Metacard holders are invited to sit in on live podcast recordings. Front row for headline guests like Colby Covington, Elon Musk, and Sugar Sean. Sure, they tossed out some free merch and gift cards too, but that's more or less where the program plateaued. Over time, talk of gyms disappeared. Plans for lounges quietly faded, and eventually, cardholders began asking for updates. But responses became
blocked. Happy Desert blocked you. John blocked you. Still Would Do is blocked you. Board Jerky has blocked you.
few and far between. As the broader NFT
Full Send supplements,
but responses
the
came few and far between. As the broader NFT market sank into steady decline, the Metacard wasn't just slipping, it was free-falling. Its value eroded month after month, and for nearly 2 years, the bleeding was managed not with a cure, but with gauze. Quick fixes, temporary hits of dopamine, a couple more UFC tickets here, another podcast recording there, maybe a Rams game if you were lucky, but what was once sold as a $2,300 key to a digital empire turned into a glorified raffle ticket, occasional access for a microscopic fraction of holders.
A glorified
and even then, only when the stars aligned.
ticket. It's crazy.
In April of 2024, the Nelk team finally unveiled their masterpiece, the long-awaited empire their community had been promised. And it arrived not as Full Send gyms, not as a Miami sports bar, but as beef
Board jerky.
We have access to
What the fuck?
gas stations, convenience stores, grocery stores. What else can we do? It's a beef jerky. We're going to do something with our NFT holders that can't really get into it yet because of details, but something where our NFT holders will be a big part of this.
Now, from where I'm sitting, Board Jerky's a bit of a curveball. The origin story, allegedly, began with a Metacard holder who owned a small-time operation called Supreme Jerky. And to be clear, we're venturing into speculative territory here, but the way it's been pieced together is like this. John got involved, the two parties linked up, and the product got a facelift. Supreme Jerky's name and branding were stripped, repackaged, and reintroduced as Board Jerky. Same jerky, different label. From there, they scaled up production, threw a slick marketing wrapper on top, and rolled it out to Metacard holders like this was the next phase of the master plan.
With respect to Board Jerky, remember the preface of the Metacard
We're learning.
was this is access to Nelk. This is access to Full Send. All of the deals that they do moving forward are going to be brought to the Metacard holders' attention, right? It gives you early access.
Right.
And sure, maybe Board Jerky would have been a deal that the Metacard holders got to experience had
it worked.
What we believe had Nelk lived up to what they represented. But the fact that Board Jerky was, one, constantly delayed for years and years and years and years. Right. And two, when it did come, it was conditioned on accepting something called phantom equity, which isn't really a
The hell is phantom equity?
Opinion, and waiving your rights to the Metacard.
You see, Board Jerky wasn't just
Waiving your rights to the Metacard. So they got rid of the Metacard. They said, fuck with this, and you'll get rid of the Metacard. Let's see. I forgot what the fuck the word we was about to look up is. God damn it. What did this nigga say?
And waiving your rights really a thing. Accepting something called phantom equity, which isn't really a thing in my opinion. And waiving your rights to the Medicard.
You see, board jerky wasn't just a new beginning. It was the quiet funeral for the so-called empire. When the offer finally hit the Discord, it came with two options wrapped in the language of opportunity. But if we're being honest,
Phantom equity, also known as a phantom stock, is a type of compensation plan that gives employees the benefits of stock ownership, like a share of a company, profits of appreciation, without actually issuing them company stock. It's essentially a contractual agreement that promises a cash payout based off a company's performance or specific events like a sale or IPO. It's fucked up.
it felt more like a strategic exit in disguise. Option 1. Trade in your Medicard for Phantom shares in Board Jerky and become an affiliate marketer. Sounds pretty cool, right? But Phantom shares are basically the corporate equivalent of crossing your fingers. It's not real equity, just a hypothetical bonus if the company performs. And option 2 was a refund of your Medicard, but even that came
with
wrapped in red
interest.
tape. Company performs. And
The Medicard purchase price with interest. Oh, I'll do that one. Give me the interest
option
back.
2 was a refund of your Medicard, but even that came wrapped in red tape. A 30-day. And option 2 was a refund of your Medicard, but even
Anyone still waiting on the Medicard refunds? No.
that came wrapped in red tape. A 30-day ticking clock, a convoluted 3-step contract process where signing the first document didn't guarantee momentum. Weeks could pass before the next one even showed up in your inbox. Oh, and there was a catch. You needed a US bank account to claim the refund.
Needed a U.S. bank account to claim the refund. Is fucked up.
We're given two options, either the refund or go on with this board jerky. Okay? What's interesting about this refund is it didn't apply to everybody.
Didn't
you
know.
had to have a U.S. bank account or be a U.S. citizen or something to that effect, even though a lot of the people who bought Medicards were not from the U.S. And
How do they
it's
know?
funny that these defendants in these type of cases...
How do they know if people was or wasn't from the U.S. when if it's bought off if it's bought with crypto, then it's not traceable?
So particular about compliance, and it's a compliance thing when it's with respect to issuing a refund, but they had no problem taking in money from everywhere. Right. The other thing that I want to point out with respect to the refund is you have to remember this was years after the Medicard was launched, over 2 years.
Years.
After,
Shit.
and a lot of people had fallen off and not kept up with the project because so much time had passed and not anything was happening. And what you see is these defendants in this particular case only gave about 30 days to get the refund in process. So a lot of these people weren't even checking up on the Medicard process within 30 days because they had given up. So you have, one, a lot of people who missed it just because they weren't checking. 2, if people were checking, they still may or may not have qualified. And 3, even the people that did qualify, we believe, if you look at the refund process, they made it very difficult to comply with. In my opinion, that's probably because they wanted as little people as possible to get a refund. And then, you know, if you look at our amended complaints, on top of all of this, we have some people who went through all of that process, who signed the agreement. We have a plaintiff in our amended complaint who signed the refund agreement, and it's signed with a NELC representative, and then never got paid the refund.
The Board Jerky rollout and refund program weren't just some gestures of goodwill. They were the cleanup operation, a soft, strategic buyback. Through those two offers alone, Nelk managed to quietly reclaim nearly 40% of the entire NFT collection. And once they had those cards, they vanished. None of them were relisted, not one. And that wasn't an accident, that was the whole point.
40% is crazy.
This wasn't about stabilizing a floor price. It was about
They try to get everything back
no
and just
fire
close
sale,
it all.
No announcement, just a quiet, controlled deletion. Wipe their hands clean, leave the narrative intact, and walk away like the lights are still on.
We're starting the process of opening the first full send gym in
How does that
OC.
process? Okay. How far out do you think we are from opening the
Cap.
OC?
6 months.
Nice. And then they'll just start
But
coming out.
we could have like 5 to 6 this year.
He just seemed like he's lying, like just saying random numbers. 6 months.
That'd be
That's
wild,
crazy.
bro.
It's pretty crazy.
And the
It's all
truth is,
cap.
most
That
rumors
sound
lie.
is so
They
cap.
invested in a community, a brand, a future that never showed up. And for 2 years, they held the line, waiting on promises. And when the end came, it didn't come with an apology.
Right, boy, 85 ETH when each ETH was 4K plus, and some people said they had a narrow one. Either phantom shares of board jerky, which we missed. Hate to use the term rug pull, but it feels the same. Promises made, promises
It came with paperwork and
unkept.
a countdown clock.
Might not be able to pay my rent, but thank God my Meta card I spent $3K on is worth $0. Thanks,
But here's where the story
Family's
takes a
really
turn,
looking out.
because not everyone.
Maybe don't spend $3,000 on a card if you're not
walk away
stable.
with nothing. If you were paying close attention to the photos from the handful of Metacard events that did happen, you might have noticed there was one face that kept popping up. Again and again. Different events on different days, but somehow always there. At first, I figured it was just a
Nah, I didn't
coincidence.
notice.
The same guy showing up in a few event photos. Whatever. But something about it stuck with me, so I started digging. Eventually, I landed on his LinkedIn. His name was Alec, but right there listed in his bio, was
Area
regional
manager at Happy Dad Hard Seltzer.
and honestly, that really pissed me off. Because
How?
suddenly, all of those Metacard events didn't look like exclusive perks. They
It
looked
looked
like staged
like-
marketing shoots.
yeah.
It made me wonder how many of those smiling faces were actual cardholders, and how many were just employees, filling space, dressed up to sell the fantasy in some lazy PR play.
Probably just employees.
But it turns out that I had it backwards. He wasn't at those events because he worked for Happy Dad.
Was he at those events because he got the Meta card and they fucked with him and then he's like, let's give us a job?
He works for Happy Dad because he showed up to those events.
Huh.
Alright, I'm Jordan.
Hey, what's up?
Yo, what's going on, man? So I guess let's start,
My bad.
honestly, even before the Metacard. Like, how long were you a fan of Nelk before you even purchased the card in the first place?
Yeah, so I was kind of a fan of them, not super dedicated, like I wasn't a crazy super fan,
But dedicated enough to buy a $3,000 fucking card.
but once I got to college, you go to college and everybody's got the full set flags and you're kind of like, what is this? And everyone's watching Nelk videos. Like when you're in college, that's what we talk about. Like you get with your friends, did you see the latest Nelk prank? And so that was when I kind of started like watching their videos and really becoming a fan.
When you bought, I know there was like different elements of the Metacard. Like some people were buying in as more of an investment.
The hell
to
is a
make money,
phase thing in
and
the
other people
background?
wanted to buy in because they wanted to hang out with the Nelk boys. Were you closer towards like more of like the fan side or more of like
Damn, why they got fucking Norton back there?
hard investor side of things?
I was kind of a perfect mix of everything because, like I said, I started investing in crypto back in 2017. I was a fan of Nelk, so it was kind of the perfect storm. And then at the time, I was living in San Diego, so it was like, oh, there's also the chance that I get to meet these guys or meet the guys that they're friends with and kind of interact with the community. So it was literally like the perfect blend of those three things. I was like, oh yeah, this is probably something that would be worth it.
Okay, cool. So then I guess let's go
Fair.
through, a brief like timeline of like you're a Happy Dad employee now. So I know when we previously spoke that you said that there was a couple events that you made it to, and you made friends not only with people that worked at Nelk but also other card holders, and you guys were able to kind of like continue to show up to more events and
So networking type shit.
just built a healthy relationship from that. After the Snoop Dogg event, what was the next kind of thing that like where you started to find your way into that circle a bit more?
Yeah, 100%. So like I said, I was in San Diego, and in August of that same year, they ended up doing a podcast with Elon Musk, and they were all going to watch it at the headquarters, which is now our office for Happy Dad, funny enough, but they were going to do it at the Nelk Full Send headquarters. And
Crazy.
they wanted to invite some holders really last minute. There's not very many of us that were readily available to go, and also in the Southern California area. So they put it in the Discord. They're like, anyone that can make it, shoot me a DM. And I DM'd them, and they were like, all right. It was like tomorrow. It was like, show up like tomorrow, 5 p.m. if you can make it. And I was like, all
Bet.
right, sure.
Fuck it, I'll show
I
up.
pulled up, and everybody was there. Kyle and John and Sam and Steiny and all those guys. So we ended up hanging out there like all night and trying some of
Damn.
the new flavors for Happy Dad and all this stuff, and just hanging out. And then after that, I went up there again in Orange County and hung out at a bar up there, and they ended up showing up. And then it was kind of a coincidence. It was like, oh, hey, you're here. And they remember me, and obviously I know them. And so, yeah, after that, it just kind of
was history
like
type
more
shit.
frequent, kind of getting hit up about things.
Like Link, we be in the same places type shit.
Just making friends with them and their circle as well.
Yeah. And that definitely goes to show that, you know,
Yo.
while Metacard wasn't great for absolutely everybody, the people, you know, similar to yourself that
I got
were
a
able
proposal
to
for you.
stay active in the
Get
Discord, stay
banned.
active on Twitter, stay active in all of the different groups, paying attention to the notifications and things that are being posted in there. When an opportunity did arise, you were able to capitalize on that.
Yeah, there was definitely a group of us that, you know, I won't like dox anyone, but there was definitely a group of us that were active and were positive about the group and didn't really care as much about, because you could tell there was kind of a divide in people that only cared about the gyms, the hotels, the big promises, and there was a kind of divide of people who they just kind of wanted to see what we could do in the community. Hey, can we hang out? Hey, this guy owns a business. Can we help his
But my thing is, right, like, why all these fucking bot promoting ass niggas come in here try to get me to use this shit? Use it your goddamn self. You think that you can make more money promoting it to me than to by using it yourself? Use it your goddamn self.
Can we
Become
go
somebody.
have lunch there and kind of boost his business? Hey, this guy owns a bunch of liquor stores. Maybe we can, you know, eventually get a product in there that we own or something. It was just like, hey, let's use this as a networking opportunity. And
I've been on
see what
fucking
comes of
Kick
it.
for like what, 5
It
days?
was ended up being pretty good.
And niggas on my
I do
dick.
think at one point you had mentioned that you ended up just deleting your Discord because of how toxic, like, even like, was it people reaching out to you directly through like DMs, or was it like just in the like
it was mostly in the
servers?
Discord, but I had like 2 or 3 people that were like DMing me on there and then found me on Instagram and were DMing me on Instagram too. I still have people that DM me on, on Instagram, crazy things. So
He still had people that DM him. It's crazy.
Discord, I had to leave eventually because it wasn't the negativity, it was like the targeted stuff. And I was like, all right, I just don't need to hear this. So
And I can understand both.
Sounds like it being negative. Sounds like it's the negativity
guy
that did
lives
it.
in England, he can't make it out to the Elon recording within 24 hours. Like, that's just not realistic.
Right.
But I also don't think that same person should be targeting you because you took advantage of an opportunity.
Right, that's fucked
Yeah,
up. Like, you
that's-
mad at him because he lived closer?
that's, I guess, really why I left, because it felt like people were starting to shift their like anger from, you know, it was like, oh, I can't be mad at the Nelk boys anymore, so I'm going to be mad at these people who are benefiting from this project. And it was like, it's kind of going against the whole principle. Like, we're supposed to be a community. We're supposed to be like
Right.
happy for each other. And there's nothing I could do. I don't run the project.
You don't know
I had
y'all
no
niggas.
control over what was going on at Metacard. I was just trying my best
My bad, y'all.
get my money's worth out of the project in any way I could. And I got these people that are all up in arms, and I'm like, why am I the scapegoat all of a sudden? But, you know.
Yeah, so I guess, you know,
It is what it is.
I mean, I've of course never met John or any of them. And so as someone who was involved in a situation that wasn't necessarily always ideal for you even, you did still walk out and like manage to have great relationships with them. So like on a personal level, like, do you think that they're bad people and their intentions from the start were to walk out with 23 million and do nothing?
I don't think so. I don't know them niggas, but from watching them years on the internet, I don't think so.
Knowing some of the guys in Nelk, like, no, there's no way they went into this with the intention of scamming their fans. The proof is in the last 10 years of what they've done. They love their fans more than any other creator online. That's why they have the ability to sell this merch out. That's why they have the power behind drinking Coronas and then translated that into Happy Dad. They care about their fans more than any other like creator online. And so I think that they're also, to their own fault, a little too ambitious. And so, I mean, selling alcohol is extremely hard. Creating an independent alcohol business is so
Very hard.
And they went out and did it. And so like to have that kind of ambition, you have to be a little crazy. And so I think that they had these wild dreams of having bars and gyms and hotels, and for whatever reason, it just didn't work out.
Now, ultimately, at this point, we have no idea how or why the Metacard project went down the way that it did. This
Sadly,
lawsuit
wish
has
we
really
knew.
just started, but throughout the process, the internal Nelk team will definitely share a bit more about their own perspective. I mean, they'll kind of have to. So for now, the story does leave a bit open-ended, but as more information comes to light, we're definitely open to making a part 2. We did reach out to dozens of Metacard holders that are a part of this lawsuit, as well as the internal Nelk team, and weren't able to get anyone to do an on-the-record interview. But if you're watching and you are involved in this whole Metacard project, and you want to share your side of the story, definitely reach out in case we do a part 2. We really did like the addition of the interviews to the videos, so maybe you're not a Metacard holder, but you've got a cool story that you'd want told relative to the whole creator community. Also reach out. We're always excited to hear more video ideas. I did also want to shout out Underdog again. This is genuinely
No, fuck them niggas. Anyways, let's see what else these niggas uploaded. Money doesn't buy phase. $23 million. Kaizenat is the exception. Our show speed owns the world. Okay, nothing I'm interested in. Damn, what the fuck? I tested apps after midnight. Bank scammers, Mr. Reed's dumbest mistake. Police came at the total cup. My Hellcat. Inside Hong Kong's mafia sky craze. Bro, I really wish I could speak sometimes. Like, why the fuck can't I speak? The most unexpected CIA spy.
This
what the
pigeon
fuck?
is a CIA spy.
So the last vid, then we end the stream, y'all. I gotta go to sleep. I ain't feel like sparking up a game with like 15 minutes left.
It's wearing a tiny high-tech camera, and it's about to gather intelligence on Soviet nuclear submarines. This is a dolphin. Right now, it's being trained to carry bombs and attach them to enemy vessels, possibly
There's dolphins being trained to carry bombs?
miniaturized nuclear bombs. This Raven isn't just flying around, it's on a mission. Currently, it's heading towards the hotel room of a KGB agent to plant a bug there. And this cat has been sent to spy on a Chinese diplomat. It had a microphone surgically implanted in its ear, and there's an antenna in its tail. This all sounds like science fiction, but animal spies are very real. Their
What the
stories have
fuck?
long been shrouded in secrecy, myths, and legends. But in 2019, the CIA released a large in secrecy, myths, and legends. But in
A program for providing high resolution oblique photography over denied
2019,
areas.
the CIA
Dr. Sidney Wu has been using a cow. What? Have done detailed dissections of Tursupia's goals. Hold on, what is a Tursupia? T-U-R-O-S T-U-R-S-I-O-P-I-S. T-U-R-S. Damn, they was doing fucking dolphins disinfections? Disinfection? Hold on. Damn, they was sitting there doing multiple disinfections of this. $500 for a fucking replica.
released a large trove of previously classified documents. They give us a glimpse into how the CIA tries to weaponize animals. Today, we will look at the 4 most spectacular projects. They reveal a story of Cold War paranoia, unchecked hubris, absurd waste, spectacular failures, and wild ideas that were taken too far.
What's the wild ideas?
Most of this video is based on declassified CIA documents. Of course, the CIA wants to present itself in a certain light, and it's careful about what it reveals. Some parts are heavily redacted, and sometimes other sources give conflicting information.
Mhm.
We can only present what we know, and if we don't know something, we'll be transparent about it. As always, you can find our sources in the description. Humans weaponize animals to make use of special capabilities they themselves lack. A dog's sense of smell is up to 10,000 times stronger than ours.
Right.
It's perfect for sniffing out illegal drugs. To cross the Alps and invade Italy, the Carthaginian general Hannibal used war elephants. During World War II, the Polish army deployed a brown bear named Wojciech to the Italian front. In Iraq, the US military worked with dolphins, putting their unparalleled echolocation skills to use detecting underwater mines. And some work with animals is veiled in secrecy.
dolphins.
By their nature, it's hard to tell exactly how far these programs have progressed. In 2019,
Probably
a beluga
very
whale was
fucking
discovered
far.
in Norwegian waters wearing a camera harness. A tag identified it as belonging to St. Petersburg, Russia. It was quickly accused of being a spy. In 2007, Iran apprehended 14 squirrels near a nuclear enrichment plant. The animals were arrested as spies. In 2018, a senior military advisor told journalists that Western nuclear spies
arresting
have been
squirrels
using
now?
lizards to collect information about Iran's nuclear program. Animals have an inherent advantage that human spies lack. People simply don't notice them. Unlike human agents or advanced technology like drones, animals can typically pass undetected, even in secure areas. But there's a problem.
Right.
Animals are not natural spies. They need training. During the Cold War, the CIA faced a mighty adversary, the Soviet Union. In trying to claim the upper hand, the agency explored all sorts of methods, some of them highly unorthodox. Psychedelic
Like-
drugs, mind control,
I remember that.
silent killer weapons, stealing Russian submarines, and, of course, animal agents. In the mid-1960s, the CIA launched Project Axiolite. The goal was to provide reliable trained avian vehicles for emplacement, transport, and or recovery of reconnaissance surveillance sensors to meet operational requirements as defined by the sponsors. In other words, the CIA was training birds to transport things like recording devices. But
Damn.
which birds were spy material? There were several candidates.
Owls, eagles, pigeons, crows.
Some stronger than others. The cockatoo seemed to be a wild card. One memo states, "We are completely in the dark as to what the possibilities are in regard to this critter."
I was wondering what the
There were
fuck
high
that
hopes for
was.
the hawks. Brandy and GB are two of the program's hawks.
W hawks.
They were especially reliable and determined. They could locate specific objects or features in strange territory. They could carry a 13-ounce package for more than a mile. They could even remove objects from a harness they themselves were wearing. But in general, they were not considered strong flyers. Horned owls
The
respond to
owl,
a
okay.
high-frequency whistle and can be recalled by trainers, even in extreme low-light situations. But in daylight, their ability to discern objects is much worse than that of other
Good.
birds. As time progresses, one unlikely candidate stands out. Doodah, a raven.
Oh shit, it's a raven, not a crow.
We now know that ravens are extremely intelligent birds. They have excellent memories, can plan for the future, and are capable of using tools and solving puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
Researchers have found that 4-month-old ravens can perform certain cognitive tasks, as well as adult-grade apes. CIA
Damn.
documents usually stick to dry facts, but Doodah was Project Axiolite's superstar. In one memo, an agent dedicates a whole page to the saga of Doodah.
What?
Project Axiolite began at a Navy
Tapped in
facility
with ravens
San
and
Clementine
birds
Island,
and
off the
all
coast
types
of
of shit.
California. There, the CIA tested the strength of various birds. Their task, fly from the island to a boat and back. This might sound easy, but the distance was challenging, and the winds
What y'all
could be
think?
strong.
Easy?
Most birds can manage to fly
Why it
between
says
50
my
yards
audio
and
input
1.5
not working?
miles. Doodah, meanwhile, flew 3.5 miles. A few months later, he was
1,
almost
2.
doubling that distance. He was also problem-solving. In every session, he would figure out exactly the right altitude he needed to fly for the unique wind conditions. Aggressive native birds posed a major threat to the CIA trainees. Wild gulls and ravens
Maybe it's
soon
just a glitch when the with the what's it called, capture, but that shit
figured out their
weird.
training schedule. Once they knew when the CIA birds would show up, they would lie in wait and then attack.
What?
But Doodah solved this problem too, and then it figured out their aggressive native birds posed a major threat to the CIA trainees. Unique wind conditions. Aggressive native birds posed a major threat to the CIA trainees. Wild gulls and ravens soon figured out their training schedule. Once they knew when the CIA birds would show up, they would lie in wait and then attack.
Damn,
But
free
Doodah solved this
Doodah.
problem too, To avoid the gulls, he'd keep to a higher altitude and outfly them. The wild ravens were another matter. They would hide behind the bluffs, waiting for an opportunity to attack. Doodah's solution was to engage in brief dogfights with the ravens, while leading them further and further from shore. After about a mile, they would give up and turn back.
Smart. Grip on leg, finger on wrist, poach. No, correct way to hold bird.
Ravens' intelligence made them good at more than flying.
Okay.
According to Navy animal trainer Bob Bailey, they could be taught to recognize specific desks, open drawers, and carry heavy objects like file folders. The CIA started training ravens like Doodah extensively, and eventually used them in the field. According to the CIA documents, this is how they did it. A CIA agent wants to record a secret conversation between enemy agents. He knows where and when it's taking place, down to the building and the exact room. Now he needs to get a recording device close to the conversation as inconspicuously as possible. To do this, he goes to a nearby building with a view of the targeted location, no more than 300 feet away. With him, he has a trained raven. At the appropriate time, he aims a tiny flashing laser at the window ledge outside the room where the conversation is taking place. Then he releases the raven from its cage. The bird takes a disguised listening device in its beak and flies to the spot indicated by the laser to plant the equipment. The agent then turns on a special desk lamp to signal to the raven that it's time to return. Later on, the raven is sent to retrieve the recording device by the same method. At least, this is how it's described in the document, Operator's Manual, Avian Delivery System. In real life, things didn't go as smoothly. Training a wild animal to be a spy takes time. It takes planning. If the CIA is still training animals today, they're most likely using Udu's all-in-one management software. Udu takes direct planning.
Oh my fucking god, bro.
A raven device on the wrong windowsill. And when a device made it to the right windowsill, the microphone picked up so much ambient noise, the recording was useless. The document suggests that this whole technique was only used a single time, and the attempt seems to have been unsuccessful. Unfortunately, Doodah's luck eventually ran out. One day he was attacked by a pair of wild ravens he'd fought many times before. All three birds disappeared from sight, and Doodah never returned. He was presumed killed in action.
Bro, my nigga Doodah dead.
The saga of Doodah mourns his loss. He was in a class by himself, writes his trainer. He had a very large bag of tricks and was loved by all. In view of these talents, I suppose I shouldn't have been too surprised when he so quickly became a star on this project. In spite of our deep sense of loss, writes the anonymous agent, we do understand such tragedies are inevitable.
It's not fair.
Ravens aren't the only birds the CIA used as spies. In secret locations across the United States, Project Axial Light was also busy turning the humblest of birds into covert eyes in the skies.
Bro, how? My card was locked. My card was fucking locked. How the fuck did I still manage to pay these niggas, bro? My card was locked. How the fuck? Now that is so weird. My card was locked. How the fuck did I still manage to pay these niggas? My card was unlocked, bro. My card was unlocked. I'm about to refund this shit so fucking fast. I'm so tired of EA.
It's September 1976.
I'm so fucking tired of EA. Let me lock my shit
submarines in Leningrad
again.
But the CIA needs more information.
Because Canberra about to try to take their money out, bro.
Above their target, while satellites are restricted to
I'm
space.
so fucking tired of EA. Like, EA is genuinely the worst fucking app. Like, if you own EA, your mother's a bitch.
From these distances, it's impossible to take detailed high-resolution photos. Enter pigeons.
Matter of fact, we about to figure this out. Who owns EA? Who owns EA? Oh my fucking god, bro. We not about to go through all of this shit. By Abra employee. Trip Hawkins. This nigga's a bitch, bro. I'm not finna say what type of nigga he is, but look at his nose. Gas him up.
A pigeon could fly about 100 feet over a target any time, day or night, and regardless of the weather. Most importantly, no one would notice it, and they could clearly
I fucking hate EA with a passion.
Pigeons are no strangers to war. During World War II, the British National Pigeon Service would drop cases of the birds over occupied Europe. People would send them back with information about daily life or even military details like troop movements. The key was their unique honing instinct. Anywhere you release a pigeon, it can find its way back
Why do
home.
I need to sign into my EA account when I was just on my fucking EA account? Bro, what the fuck is they talking about?
Today, this ability still isn't fully
EA
understood.
is genuinely the worst company, bro. They make this shit so hard and so difficult to deal with because these niggas know they're dead ass wrong.
The CIA's Office of Research
These
and
niggas know they dead
created
ass wrong
special
for what the fuck they
16mm
do.
cameras and harnesses for the birds to wear.
Whoever that bitch nigga was, we
harnesses
just
were made
pulled
of
up,
leather
bro,
and
like dead
attached to the
ass. I
birds with
hope
adjustable
genuinely
Velcro
bad things
tabs.
happen to
They
them.
were designed to allow the birds full freedom of movement while holding the camera steady during flight. The cameras were lightweight and miniaturized. Each had a small battery-powered motor that advanced the film and cocked the shutter. Each camera had its own timer. When it went off, the camera would take pictures for just a few minutes, resulting in 150 to 220 photos. Together, the
That's a
camera
lot.
harness weighed just 39.5 grams. To produce useful images, pigeons needed to fly directly over their target at exactly the right time, but this could be difficult to arrange. Once they were released, the pigeons would fly back home in a more or less direct line. If the target was located on that line, there was a fairly good chance the pigeons would fly over it. But in covert situations, it wasn't always possible to release pigeons in ideal locations. Some areas were restricted, others were too exposed. To get around this problem, CIA handlers tried to teach the birds ABC flight. Point A is the point of release, point B is the target, and point C is the pigeon's home loft. To begin with, temporary targets a short distance away were established at point B. When they flew to these targets, the pigeons were rewarded. Over time, they were conditioned to expect this reward. Next, the reward at point B was eliminated, but to receive a reward at point C, they had to fly over point B first. And that's how they trained a pigeon to move from A to B to C. Once the birds were conditioned, they moved on to longer training flights. Inflatable white radomes 20 feet in diameter were used as point B. The CIA trained and tested birds in lofts in Oregon, Virginia, Missouri, and Alaska. Alaska, it was noted, shared certain geographical features with areas of interest in the Soviet Union. The training yielded mixed results. Birds were often lost along the way. Some birds simply flew away. Some were killed by wild birds. On the longer training flights, many birds flew too low along freeways and were hit by cars.
Damn, they was flying too low and got smacked by
Birds
cars.
sometimes disappeared while wearing the special equipment
Sick.
that had been developed for them. Losses were time-consuming and expensive.
fucked up.
Each time a bird was lost, a new one had to be purchased and trained. Some of the photos taken were very high quality. Some missed the target entirely. Even when the birds were fully trained, they could be relied on to complete their ABC mission only about 1 out of 4 times. A C flight still held potential, though. If the release point was chosen carefully, with the target area between
I just
it and the
canceled
home
that
loft,
weak ass
CIA
fucking
analysts
membership,
felt
bro.
there was a
After them
high
niggas just took $19 out of my fucking account. $19 for games that I don't even fucking play. Like, bro, what the fuck? Fuck EA Play. Like, it's a big fuck EA. It's a big fuck EA. It's
the
a
birds would fly
big
over the
fuck
intended
EA.
target and obtain the high-resolution photos required.
Fuck EA and fuck that bitch. Fuck who
So the
owns
CIA
them.
knows that the Soviets are building nuclear submarines in the Admiralty and Sudomek shipyards in Leningrad, now known as St. Petersburg, and it needs high-resolution photos. Time for the pigeons to shine. An agent will have to release the pigeons with the shipyards between himself and the pigeon's home loft. To do this without being
Fuck Trip
detected will
Hawkins.
require clandestine release techniques. The documents mention 3 that are considered as options. One is releasing the birds from underneath a large overcoat. The second option is briefcases and
I
shopping
hope that
bags
nigga's
with
dead.
chipped bottoms. The third option is this Volkswagen Beetle. A hole is cut in the floor. When the car is parked, pigeons are released through the hole.
God damn it,
They waddle
guys. Fuck, he's still alive. He's still alive. Fuck, we was hoping that nigga was dead. I hope that nigga was dead so much. I hoped he was dead so much.
out from underneath the car and immediately take flight.
Fuck
The
Trip
operation
Hawkins.
is to go ahead by August
Fuck Trip Hawkins.
1978,
Fuck
but here
EA.
the trail goes
And
cold.
fuck Vanguard.
It's unclear whether the operation actually ever happened. The documents don't say.
Where the dolphin
While the
at,
CIA's
man?
birds may have gathered invaluable aerial photo insights, other agents were being trained to sabotage enemy ships. This is James W. Fitzgerald. He's an engineer and physicist. It's 1964, and Fitzgerald has been thinking about dolphins a lot. At a cocktail party, he mentions that he believes the animals could be used in warfare. The person he's talking to happens to be an admiral in the US Navy. He's intrigued enough to introduce Fitzgerald to someone from the CIA. Around the same time, the TV show Flipper debuts. It's about a crime-fighting dolphin in a marine reserve in the Florida Keys. Like most dolphins, Flipper is smart and friendly to humans, and he responds well to commands. We'll never know whether Fitzgerald and the CIA were inspired by Flipper, but it is plausible. According to the Washington Post, at this point, the CIA sends Fitzgerald to Florida, where he establishes a small laboratory. The same year, the CIA begins its dolphin program, Project Oxygas. The aim of Project Oxygas is to show that dolphins can be used in attacks against enemy ships. To this end, harnesses and nose cones are created to allow the dolphins to carry items. Someone in the CIA even produces this drawing. The dolphins are happily towing the explosive devices given to them by their handlers on top of the submarine. The program quickly passes its first test. It demonstrates that a dolphin can place a simulated explosive device against the propeller of a PT boat anchored in the open sea.
Can it do it while it's moving? Hopefully, probably
in November
not.
1964, the Deputy Assistant Director of the Office of Research and Development writes that Project Oxygas has progressed more rapidly than we anticipated. It's unclear exactly what sort of simulated explosives these dolphins were carrying. The sentence that specifies this is partly redacted. The CIA probably planned on using conventional explosives, but if this was the case, why the need for secrecy? A 2021 article in Popular Mechanics suggests a haunting possibility. In 1965, miniaturized nuclear weapons might have seemed achievable in the near future. The magnitude of such an idea would certainly explain the need for continued secrecy. The program's first success unlocks other goals. Trainers explore having dolphins place listening devices on enemy nuclear submarines. The hope is that directly attaching the devices will produce high-quality recordings that allow the CIA to better understand how the enemy subs work. But wild animals are hard to train. One of the dolphins' strengths is how social they are. They're willing to work, especially as they bond with their trainers.
My bad, John. I noticed that shit up there.
A liability. If the dolphins are performing tasks that please their trainers, then in the field they'll need extra time to bond with agents before they can be considered reliable. There are also questions about whether dolphins can carry out operations over longer distances.
I feel like the dolphin gets
sidetracked. The CIA seems to realize its
not.
limitations in understanding the dolphin's capabilities, and it contacts the Navy's Office of Naval Research to help. In 1967, the program's focus changed to intelligence gathering. The dolphins were to be trained to travel great distances, at least 12 miles.
Figure shit out.
They would retrieve dead drops, items or information undercover agents had left behind in the water to be picked up. A memo from September 14th that year suggests that Oxygas had become a joint program of the CIA and the Department of Defense. The CIA seemed unsure that Project Oxygas would produce actionable results, and the program seemed to be running on steam. A make-or-break demonstration was scheduled for December. At that time, it would be decided whether Project Oxygas would continue. The demonstration seems to have been a failure. After that time, there are no further mentions of the program in the CIA documents. Surviving drawings and photographs gives us an idea of what Project Oxygas might have looked like. Glimpses of Project Ketchel are far more rare.
Ketchel.
Between the redactions, a hazy picture emerges of likely the oddest creature the CIA ever created. This is Acousticitty. Acousticitty is the legendary project of Project Ketchel, the CIA's dog and cat program. Of all the CIA's animal projects, Acousticitty might have been the most controversial and the hardest to corroborate, depending on who you believe. The saga of Acousticitty goes in fundamentally different directions. Here's the CIA story. In 1964, the agency wanted to be able to explore conversations held out in the open. Think two Soviet agents having a conversation in a public park. That required getting close and focusing in on the conversation without attracting attention.
Right.
The solution is cats, who can often prowl around without people ever noticing them. A microphone is surgically placed inside a cat's ear canal. A transmitter is placed underneath a bunch of loose skin, and an antenna is woven into its fur. The whole procedure is low-risk, humane, and minimally invasive. But the cat is still a cat. It can be trained only so far. Eventually, it will do what it wants. Acousticitty was never deployed in the field, and the listening devices were carefully removed from its body. But Victor Marchetti, who was special assistant to the
So
CIA,
they put it in his body just to see if it can?
CIA's deputy director in the 1960s, tells a very different story. Here's his version. It's sometime in the 1960s. The CIA puts a Chinese diplomat in France under surveillance, but their bugs don't just pick up his conversations. They record all the noise in the room, including the squeaking of the couch. Individual voices are inaudible. This is characteristic of the microphones of the day, which tend to record everything around them indiscriminately. The anatomy of ears, on the other hand, allows us to focus on certain sounds and exclude others. This,
Right.
in your brain's auditory processing abilities, are why you can have a conversation at a noisy party without being overwhelmed by every sound. When Acoustic Kitty turned its head, it would direct the microphone inside its ear. According to Marchetti, to implant the equipment, they slit the cat open, put batteries in him, wired him up, including putting a power pack in his abdomen. The tail was used as an antenna. They made a monstrosity. To focus on a single conversation,
What the
Acoustic
fuck?
Kitty would need to
How do they charge the battery pack though? Was it when the cat died? They like killed the cat, plug it in, put him to sleep, plug it in like a
trained.
fucking cord right
His
quick?
handlers found that hunger or sexual arousal would cause him to simply lose interest and wander off, so they attached wires to his brain to monitor and neutralize those impulses. Marchetti claims the CIA did attempt to use Acoustic Kitty in the field. The cat was then put on a test, sent across the street to eavesdrop on a conversation, being monitored by a van loaded with equipment. And as this poor little monstrosity waddled across the street,
Don't
a
tell me
taxi
he got
cab came down
smacked.
and ran over it. So it was $25 million down the drain. $25 million was a lot of money then. The CIA
Then $25 million is a lot of money now. What? Give me $25 million. What the fuck?
disputes all this. On its website, it claims that Marchetti's comments were meant to be a joke, and the unclassified documents are no help. The single document about Acoustic Kitty is heavily redacted. The CIA
That
didn't
is
just
very
train and transform
redacted.
animals, it also recreated them. This looks like a dragonfly, but look
But it's
closer,
not.
it's a machine, the Insectothopter. The CIA created this
Insectothopter.
tiny gas-powered listening device back in the 70s. It contains a microphone, and it can flap its wings rapidly and fly just over 600 feet in a minute, guided by a laser beam.
Damn.
A remarkable technical achievement, with some serious limitations. Even a light breeze can throw it off course immediately.
Sick.
It was never used operationally. In a memo, the CIA's Deputy Director of Research and Development wrote that unfocused experimentation in the animal programs represented the worst kind of waste in terms of manpower and money. The unclassified documents often suggest that the CIA was simply exploring what animals could do without having any real objective in mind. And the results are somewhat disappointing. Ravens were trained for years just to be killed by wild birds.
So
Pigeons
sad.
randomly disappeared with gear worth thousands of dollars. And depending on who you believe, an expensive cyborg cat was at best useless in the field, and at worst immediately hit by a car. The declassified documents suggest that by the mid-1970s, the animal projects had fizzled out. Despite this
I don't know if I
disappointment,
believe
the
that.
quest to weaponize animals continues. The United States Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, known as DARPA, has been running programs aimed at controlling insects for espionage. In 2012, a team at MIT announced that it had developed a neural probe that plugged into moths' nervous systems, allowing for their flight to be
Oh,
controlled.
shit.
Engineers at the University of Washington have implanted moths' antenna into the Smellithopter, a drone that can actually pick up smells. Have implanted moths' antenna into the Smellithopter, a drone that can actually pick up smells. And in 2018, DARPA announced the Persistent Aquatic Living Sensors program. The program explored the possibility of using aquatic creatures as living alarm systems. That includes bioluminescent bacteria, which light up when disturbed by aquatic intruders. Another option was to study the sounds produced by snapping shrimp and Goliath grouper. In the case of the shrimp, disturbances in the audio could even indicate the size and shape of an intruder. It
Size and
remains to be
shape.
seen whether DARPA or the CIA can harness the natural world for intelligence purposes, or whether wilderness will remain just that. Maybe someday we'll discover whether any real success stories lie within all those redactions.
Maybe one day. That's crazy for real. That's wild as fuck. Yeah, anyways. I got stuff to do in the morning. Sorry about the short stream. But what the fuck? Yeah, anyways, y'all, I got stuff to do in the morning. Sorry about the short stream. Sorry about the not energized feeling stream. Just tired, not really in the best mood today. It is what it is. We had to be consistent. Can't let my day fuck up the little shit we got going on. I'll catch y'all niggas tomorrow, man. Have a good rest of y'all nights.